let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rushing, where the passion and the chaos wins with a town pride loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rushing, where the passion and the chaos wins with a town pride loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. Grab a seat, grab a drink, let the chaos begin. You're listening to Fools Rushing, where the passion and the chaos wins with a town pride loud within. This is where the game and fun begin. You're listening to Fools Rushing, where the passion and the chaos wins with a town pride loud within. This is where the game and fun begin.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday and welcome to Fools Rush In on a night where, well, we've got mixed reaction. We're not sure whether my connection is lacking or someone else, but if I'm a bit sketchy on the screens and it looks in the lobby like people are now saying it's mine, I do apologise. I'm not sure why, and I will try and fix it in time for Friday. But if I start messing about with the internet now, I'm going to disappear more than on a normal show. So we'll let it play out, and I'll just let the other guys be the stars instead of me, because we know that generally these shows are all about my opinions and my opinions only. We have lots to discuss. Football has not been good. Generally, across the weekend, there have been a lot of negative scores for the teams that we talk about, except for Bassett, which is going to be fun towards the end of the show. We can talk positively about them. But needless to say, we have got a full Fools five-a-side tonight, because we have differences of opinion on who didn't exactly pull their weight in the lackluster, abject, and absolutely disgustingly bad performance on Saturday. How, well, we'll talk about it, but defensively, I put on our socials, we deserved everything we got. But not necessarily a point agreed with by all of the fools. So we'll find out what they have to say. As I said, there are 4 of the guys ready in the lobby to have their say on all things Swindon Town Women, Bassett and Corsham. I suppose we should also do an intro question, which for the first time I haven't actually prepared. So I'm desperately trying to think of one that I didn't ask on Friday. So while I do that, let's say hello to the lads. Someone whose connection is always pristine and never has these issues, the right-hand man himself. Evening, Woody.
Yeah, always. Probably only
always.
Yeah. But I remember back in the original days, Fifey, when it was Woody's Wi-Fi, and but we don't get that so much anymore.
No, well, since you've moved into Millionaires Row and you've got proper Wi-Fi, mate.
Yeah. Although the Wi-Fi was actually faster where I used to live, but I'd still blame it on the old laptop I had at the time. So. Damn you company I was working for at the time that I will not name on television. But...
Well, the thing is, I was saying, I'm sure my connection on Friday when I was at my mum's was absolutely fine. And I'm sure my internet here is stronger than hers is.
Yeah, sometimes, mate, it could be anything, can't it? Everybody who has, I guess, IT heads know that it's not always just the actual internet connection anymore. It could be all sorts related to your laptop, etc. Your sound's coming through fine. I think Mike put it on there, spot on. Really, the sound's coming through fine. It's just every now and then you're a bit laggy on the.
Yeah, Mike's saying the same thing. Saying my sound is fine. It's just the picture's breaking up and a bit laggy. I do apologise. We try and run a professional ship here, and if the host can't do it properly, then what hope is there for the rest of us? I suppose. How was your weekend, mate?
I mean, there was some football played somewhere. But yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I'm kind of getting over tonight, to be fair, because that rain was not very nice. It was very wet at training tonight. So
I can imagine.
I've kind of forgotten about the weekend, because when it's a miserable wet weather like that, it makes you forget about all the good stuff. But yeah, other than that, it was good. So probably the first Sunday in a while where I haven't really done too much. Obviously I was planning to get out and watch some football, but family stuff took over, unfortunately. So but yeah, other than that, it was all right. It was all right. Swindon know how to make a good weekend a little bit worse, don't they? So
don't they just?
And that's what they probably did a little bit of on Saturday.
I sat with my sister for the game, as you know, and she resides in Gorse Hill, so it's not a long walk back from the football ground for her. But I was walking in the typical manner of someone who was not happy with what he'd just seen, and you know, my sister's not that much shorter than me, so she's got a similar sort of leg stride, but she was having to put on a light jog to keep up with me. I was not happy.
Yeah, I can imagine you like an angry mum whose son hasn't played for like 15 matches or something. That's the reaction, I reckon, that we had from you on Saturday. I was trying to work out, because obviously because I was running a bit late, and I think we decided not to risk Fool's Corner.
Even though we could have done, there was loads of space.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, actually, looking at Fifey's messages afterwards, maybe I was safer where I was.
You weren't happy. You weren't helping my mood Sunday morning with some of your opinions.
I know. But you know me, Fifey. When I can get you going, I'll get you going.
Oh, do you know what? I had a traditionally Fools-like food-based intro question that I remembered I wanted to ask. But I like Mike's, so we're gonna live produce this show. And we're gonna use Mike's as the intro question. So for you and the fellow fools and everyone watching, because I haven't even done that bit. As always, no matter where in the world you're watching, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or X, live chat is available, so you can get involved in all of the discussion, including this intro question that Mike has given us, and it is opening question. Due to this Salford repeat, what have you failed miserably at first time, yet succeeded at second attempt? No rude answers, please. So sex isn't an option. Story of my life at the minute, I suppose.
I don't need to worry about that first time. That's a really
you've
good
got
question.
You've got time to.
Yeah, I'll have if that's all right, because that's a philosophical question, that is. So I'm gonna have to have a think.
let's get some more fools on, and let's go with the man who I spent a good couple of hours with yesterday afternoon, enjoying the good football that was on display in Bassett. Evening, Barry, who's muted and never remembers.
It's the worst time just then.
You're still new. You're still new.
No, I just had a child come running downstairs shouting something just as you said it. I was like, yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Mine was a fairly football-free weekend apart from Sunday afternoon.
Well,
Sadly,
yes, you were far too busy to attend the chaos that was Saturday. You had a very busy weekend.
I'm quite glad I missed it, to be honest, by the sounds of it.
Well, when you said to me that you'd watched 25 seconds of highlights, and we'll talk about the moment specifically in a little bit, of course, but when you said the only thing you saw was Ripley come charging out of his area and miss the ball, and then you switched it off again, I thought, okay, you've seen everything you need to see that sums up that game.
Yeah, I really didn't need to see any more after that. That was quite enough for me. So, but Bassett made up for it, so that was the main thing.
They did, and it was a great game, which we'll talk again. Me and you can actually talk about and give some expert analysis on later for a change. But it was nice to see a few of the Fools' favourites after the game as well. They came over and said hi. That was always nice. And that, for anyone who doesn't know, obviously that explains the name title I've given myself, because Barry went into the clubhouse at halftime, and the lady behind the counter said, I may be paraphrasing slightly because you told me the story, but you rang me to ask if I wanted anything, and she said to you, are you waiting for the tall guy in red because he looks very confused, while I was listening to the Swindon game in my headphones, messaging Woody on WhatsApp. You were ringing me, and she just said I look very confused.
Well, you were looking away from the pitch whilst the game was on. I think that was the most confusing thing.
Well, we were all desperately trying to find out what was happening at Caution, Lovey. That was the thing. We knew every other game that was being played apart from that one. And then, of course, for the second time, because she told me last time I saw her as well, but we saw Maddie play as well. Actually, she went, "You're so much taller than I thought you are." And I'm like, "Well, you only ever see me sat on the screen. How short do you think I am on the screen?" So I'm sitting like this to prove how I'm that much taller than Woody on the screen as well. Really using proper posture.
It probably didn't help that you were stood next to me, made you look even taller.
I was going to say, Barry, if you're going to do it in ratio, Barry, you need to lower your chair a little bit, mate. There we go.
This is the real heights of the Fools.
Get back on my booster seat.
Well, you've got time to think as well, mate, but we're using Mike's intro question, something you failed at miserably the first time, yet succeeded at the second attempt. I'm expecting quite a few answers about driving tests and things to come up. But before that, I said we had a Fools 5-a-side team, and we only have 3 on the screen. So let's get some more. Someone else who always has pristine connection and never the issues that I'm experiencing today. Evening was...
I genuinely thought you were going to go to Nick because I always get problems, mate.
You okay, bud?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, gents. How are we?
Yeah, very well. I was saying to you off camera, you're looking very smart in the white and blue.
I just thought I'd chuck it on. I got it for Christmas, so I thought I don't think I've even had a chance to wear it yet to a game. So obviously an away game, obviously.
Week tomorrow then, was yeah?
Oh yeah, it might be. They probably will be in that. No, I'm not going tomorrow. No, not to Salford. I think we're in for another beating, but we'll come on to that later.
Gets his first outing in Nottingham.
Yeah, it could do actually, but I think we'll be in red, won't we? I don't know, but
doesn't mean you have to be. I mean, I'm always wearing the purple.
No, that is true, but Theo always seems to go to me now, "Oh yeah, you've got to wear the colour that they're going to be in." So I kind of like, yeah, it's one of them. But
I did get to spend some time with you and your family this weekend while I was down. Did you have a overall satisfactory weekend? I know you're all very excited to get the foam fingers out for Gladiators.
Yeah, Theo was very excited, the new series of Gladiators. So he was buzzing for that. So we got home and watched that and sort of forgot about the football, which was good. Yeah, we had the pleasure of lunchtime with you, and then we went and watched some of the footy, didn't we? Went down to the Legends early. So that was a good laugh.
Watched the Manchester derby. Theo tried to start fights.
Yeah, he did. Luckily, we had you and Joe there to break it all up. Yeah, just in case. Theo.
Surrounded by Man United fans, so he's chanting Man City chants.
It was quite funny from him, to be fair.
It
I
was
kind of
very
think,
funny.
where does he?
It was great
Where does
banter
he?
on his part.
Where does he get it from? And then I look in the mirror and think, oh yeah, it's me.
He rolled that over into the game as well.
Yeah,
He was on fire on Saturday.
he was buzzed up. He was. But then he got home and he was just knackered. He had a bit of a later night, and we were like, yeah, we watched Gladiator, and he was just then done for the world. He was like, yeah, I'm going to bed, and we were like, oh, thank you. But yeah, we dissected the whole cake section of Boswell's, didn't we, Fifey? Saturday lunch.
We did. It was very nice. My first experience of it. Anywhere where they can justify quoting half an hour for toast, I think is a good standard of cafe.
Yeah, it was busy, wasn't it? It was absolutely rammed.
busy. Absolutely rammed. But yeah, no, good quality. I'll definitely go there again.
Yeah, so it is a good brekkie, to be fair. You can't go wrong with a Boswell's. If you don't believe us, ask Joe, because he's in there every week.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Well, you already mentioned it. It's only right while you think about your answer to the intro question, we get the last of our five-a-side team on the screen. Good evening, Sir Nicholas. And you're muted as well, textbook.
Good evening, Fifey.
That was very Eurovision of you. Hello, Fifey, London calling.
Yeah. Well, I am up in the depths of Oxfordshire, so it's a long way.
Just before we find out how your weekend was, John says, was a driving question mark, or is it my turn?
No, I'm driving, John. So just give me a message. You haven't. I think I've got a space.
You haven't confirmed your seat.
I'm still trying to convince Woody, but he's decided that he's going to Harrogate, I think. I'm like, you nutter. Absolute nutter.
Well, I don't want to give away too much behind the scenes info but I don't think Woody's going to take much convincing to add Notts County to his list of games this season. So just maybe one more message will do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Oh, I do. Woody's well up for it. Nick, how was your weekend, pal? Did you get to the archery?
No, I didn't in the end. No, my knees were hurting. So if I do hour and a half, couple of hours of archery, then drive to Swindon, then sit at the game, and then drive back. And to make it worse, when I got there, the bloody car park was closed for the cricket club. So I had to park in St. Joe's. And if there's a walk I hate, it's from St. Joe's to the ground. That long path is, I hate it. So, yeah. So my knees were knackered by the end of the day. So, yeah. And by the time I got home, that was it. I'm done.
Well, if it's any consolation to you, Nick, Woz was in charge of the pre-match entertainment for us. And we went from brunch to the Merlin, got as far as the door, and he went, nah, it looks a bit busy in there, and walked us to the ground anyway.
I just knew with Theo in tow, if we were stood in front of the screen, Theo's going to be going to me, I want to sit down, Dad. I want to sit down.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Yeah, find me a seat. Find me a seat.
And the Merlin did look rammed, so we kind of did the good thing, and we got the last table in the Legends, didn't we? We did all right.
We did all right, yeah. Until some less than friendly fellow Swindon fans decided that the kids didn't need to see the screen and just stood in front of it.
Yeah, that was just mental, wasn't it?
Which, as you can imagine, Arch in particular took very well.
Yeah, Arch was fuming, wasn't he? We were just fueling his fire every comment.
Anyway, let's do the intro question. You've all had time to think. Woody, you more than most. Something you failed at miserably the first time, but succeeded at the second time.
Such a boring example, but when Wazza came on, it reminded me. I'm going to go with changing my tyre on my car myself.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Woody, you didn't succeed at that the second time. No way.
I did. As in actually changing the tyre myself, not getting.
Oh, okay.
Not waiting for it to go bare fin and making sure I get every penny out of that tyre.
Yeah, you're good at that bit.
Yeah. So I remember. I can't remember where I was going, but I was on the M4 and I got a puncture, and this was a genuine puncture, not one that Woody was waiting to run down. And I put the jack up, and then I had put my hand on top of the tyre. And then the jack slipped and the car just fell on my hand completely. And well, obviously the arch bit just fell. And then I was like, oh, you know what, I'm not even going to try this again because I don't trust it now. I think I was about 19 at the time, maybe 2021 possibly, as in 20 or 21. Yeah, so I thought I was never going to do it again after that, but then the same thing happened to my girlfriend at the time, and I did do it. So that's the only thing and it's because it came on the screen, it just reminded me of when I had to change a tire that I really badly failed at the first time, and then the second time was okay.
It's a
So a bit boring,
phenomenally
really.
good answer, that actually, Woody. I'm very impressed. Well done, Barry.
Mine's going to be really boring, I'm afraid. I think it's got to be this mute button because the first time I tried it, I was bloody awful. But now I've got it.
I
Now
like
I've
it.
got
It's
it.
topical.
So yeah,
very
it's a
good.
boring one, but very topical.
What's that?
Mine was a bit boring, really, because I actually passed my driving test the first time, but
Me too.
I was actually really poor when I did like a CBT moped thing when I was 17, and I found a way to try and fail that the first time as well. So that's why I think I learned from my thing. So I was quite not very good at that, and then I did pass the second time, so it was all right. But a lot of people were saying to me before the first time, yeah, you can't fail the CBT. It's quite difficult. You know what I mean? You've got to do something really wrong. And I
was
went
cool when I did my CBT.
Yeah. It was kind of one of those. It was just so late. Yeah, it was just very strange. But yeah, the second day that I went back and did it again, because they did it for 2 days. They were kind of like, yeah, you're fine now. You can do it.
Sorry, Nick's got a phone call. Someone's not happy with your story.
Yeah, go on, Nick.
Yeah, can you just, Fifey, just give us a sec, will you?
Yeah, sure. Well, okay. So as Nick doesn't want to share his right now, he's clearly busy on a different podcast. He can't concentrate on two at the same time. I would have to say, although I passed my driving test the first time, I did fail my theory test the first time. I'm trying to think of something, like, say, that's less kind of obvious. I mean, marriage, but I haven't been married a second time, so I can't say that.
Yeah. What you're saying is you could fail it again?
Yeah, if the situation ever arises, we can revisit this. I mean, I've clearly failed marriage terribly the first time, but second time hasn't happened yet, so I can't tell you if I'm any better. Nick, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
Good. Absolute Football have left him alone for half an hour so he can get back to what we're doing.
Proper stuff.
Your example of something you failed at the first time, Nick?
Well, the first thing that springs to mind is the boring one, is the driving test. Failed first, got it second time. But when I first started work and was allowed to actually get the hands proper dirty and do real stuff, I had to make a new connection onto the water main, a live water main, PVC main, and you put a clamp around it and then you drill into the pipe to make the connection. But I didn't fit the clamp on properly, so drilled in, oh shit, water everywhere, filling the trench up past the boots, up to the knees, desperately trying to get it in there. The only thing you can do is take the clamp off, try and refix it, and get soaked in the process. So that was a lesson learned on how not to do it. So yeah, that wasn't great. But in that sort of job, if you don't get a soaking, you haven't sort of experienced what you need to learn. And that's the best way to learn, is bugger it up really well and good. You don't do it again.
Well, there you go.
Are you still talking about marriage?
No, definitely not. No, I've been married 52 years, so no.
Yeah, we could all take hints and advice from Nick on how to survive a long and happy marriage. Nick, I'm saying nothing. You don't want any advice from me. I was about to say on that subject, Nick, but we'll move on swiftly, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so.
Listen, let's start with the obvious thing. And by the way, for everyone watching along, as I say, please do let us know things that you failed first time. that you did successfully the second time. While we move on to the main topic of tonight, Swindon Town, the fan base was almost unanimous in agreement. They wanted to win on Saturday and wouldn't mind sacrificing the result tomorrow for it. We were all inspired on Friday by Nick and Woody telling us how many options of players we had, how solid we looked defensively. And, you know, we all said it was going to be a tough game, but the real siege mentality because of the FA and the EFL being against us, there is nothing that could stop Swindon Town. The fact that we all predicted wins. If I remember rightly, Nick started things off saying we would win 3-1 and Woody went something along the lines
4.
of not too dissimilar, but I think 4. And it's like, I'm not so sure, lads. And I was the one playing it down. But no. Ian Holloway and his troop. Well, no, I'm not even going to say Ian Holloway because he was rightfully pissed off post-match. His troops had different mentality altogether. There was no siege mentality. It was more civ mentality. And they gave the Salford attackers the freedom of Swindon to have their wicked way with us. And despite some actually impressive attacking football from Swindon at times, we managed to find ourselves on the wrong end of a 3-2. So before we talk about individual moments and argue about who was really at fault for certain elements of the defeat, let's just talk to the guys that were there and see what they thought. I used the words abject, disgusting, poor. Where should we start with overall comments on the match?
The one that if you concede 3 goals at home, you don't deserve to get anything from the game, in my opinion. It was just not good enough defensively, and we lost the game in the first 30 minutes. We were constantly then chasing the game and trying to get back into it. It was weird because I thought the first 5-10 minutes, I thought we started quite well, and then we just gifted Salford 20 minutes of just pure. You know what I mean? From minute 10 to minute 30, they were completely dominant and they deserved to be where they were at. And the goal looked like it was coming. Not very popular because I'm not a big fan of Carl Robinson, but I thought they were the best side that I've seen down here this season that come up against us at home. I thought they were pretty fearless. I thought they had a good go. That it just worked for them. We were a bit toothless going forward at times in the first half, and they had pace on the break that caused us wonders of problems. So, and then something that you don't expect a lot of anymore, we conceded from a set piece, which defensively we've started to look a bit better, and then that just crept back in for the first goal, which we'll come on to. But yeah, you don't deserve nothing. If you concede 3 goals at home, you don't deserve nothing from the game. So that's what I took out from it. And for me, the main point was that for the first 30 minutes, we were, or for the 20 minutes in that second half of the first half, we were just awful. We just weren't good enough. We weren't at the races against a team that we should have been really, really fired up to play against. You know what I mean? We lost to them away in the league. They've been on a good run of form. They were coming up to our place. It should have been... You know what I mean? Maybe it should have been us. Maybe they should have started bright for the first 5 and then we should have took over the game because we're at home. The impetus is on us and we should have been a lot more dominant, but we just weren't good enough, Fifey. There was too many players of our key players that were completely off it. And when you lose that and you concede the goals like we did, you don't deserve to get anything from the game. And that's the way it ended up.
Woody, if you didn't know the score and you saw that Swindon had 60% possession, had more they had 150% of the attempts that Salford had. They pretty much nearly doubled the amount of completed passes that Salford did. They won again about 150% of the aerial battles that Salford did. You would think Swindon had played well, yet I get the feeling the next 45 minutes to an hour, it's not going to make pretty listening.
No, I mean, I don't think I'm necessarily quite on the level of rating the performance as you did in the opening, but I think what we've done is we've chose a wrong game not to play well, because I agree with Wazza. I personally think Salford are, if not the best, definitely one of the best teams that have come to us. Salford have done to us on Saturday what we've done to a lot of teams probably since Holloway's been in charge, where sometimes we won't dominate play, we won't dominate shots. I mean, we did it a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who it was against, where we only had like 6 shots on goal and we scored 2 of them, and they had 15 shots on goal and didn't score any.
Gillingham.
Gillingham, yeah. So was it Gillingham? Yeah, but so yeah, I think it was just. I was trying to. I mean, to be honest, if I was to summarise where it all went wrong, I have never agreed with a post-match for a manager as much as I have with Holloway. To be fair, as in this one that happened on Saturday, because I think
Yep.
his analysis of the game was pretty much spot on. There did seem to be that kind of lack of being fired up for the game, and Carl Robinson just has this habit, doesn't he, of especially with Salford, of managing to get sides fired up against sides that are in form, and things like that. So, but yeah, again, you said about the passing battle. I would probably say that a third of those passes probably happened in the last 15 minutes when Salford was sat in.
Yeah.
And we were, we had and not that I necessarily disagree with doing this all the time, but in that last kind of 10, 15 minutes, the ball went back to Ripley about 15 times. So it's, a lot of those, sometimes stats can be misleading on that front because they're all coming from, those pass backs and things like that. I mean, you only have to look at for me, one of the bigger tellers was the clear cut chances. When I looked on Sky Sports after the game as well, and I'm looking at it now, they had 3 clear cut chances out of their 9 shots, and we had 2 out of our 14. So for me, you could probably look at that how you want. A lot of our shots were probably a bit pot shotty, and trying our luck, which I don't necessarily mind, but I just think I don't think we played as bad as maybe first summarized, but we chose the wrong game to be bad, or to have one of our weaker performances.
And Nick, takeaways from yourself from the game as a whole?
There were, as has been said, some key players that were poor, ones you don't expect to be poor. Taff is probably the worst game he's played, but it's going to happen. Players are going to have off days for all sorts of reasons. So that didn't help. The midfield didn't really function, like you say, certainly in that first half. And I see there was a lot of criticism of the 3 in midfield, but the 3 previously have done well. So I wasn't over disappointed with the 3 that started. So again, it's just one things. But I disagree slightly. I might be biased because I don't like the manager. They were the best side that's come to us. If you give reasonably decent players that amount of time and space, they are going to take you apart, and that's what happened. We let them play. It was more down to us being bad than them being really good. And fair play, they took advantage of it. So can't argue against that. I say in some players were. I thought McGregor had a decent game until I looked back at the goals, and he could have done better with 2 of those. The second goal, he just lost his man totally, and just didn't seem to know where he was. And the third goal, he was the last defender there against the guy that scored, and could and should have done better. So apart from that, which were crucial, I thought he had a decent game. But the one that really, really frustrates me is, and people said, oh, well, Dryden wasn't effective. He ain't going to be effective if you're playing with Palmer. It's a total waste of time. Palmer up front has done nothing. He was poor at Luton. He was more than poor Saturday. And if we continue playing him up front, Ripley's just going to hoof it to him. It doesn't work. His hold-up play was... everything about him was just a 2 out of 10. And then that pushes Dryden out wide, so he's not in the box to have the chance to score. What happened second half? Once he got substituted, Dryden's in the middle, decent cross, bosh, goal. So I couldn't understand why he came out at the start of the second half. It was just so, for me, glaringly obvious that he needed to be changed. And Holloway left it too late.
The only
That doesn't
counter,
help.
the only counter I will give is that I actually thought for the first half when we were starting on top and we were actually playing free at the back, which he changed in the second half, which forced Drinan to go wide.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually for the first part of the first half before we went 2 goals down and were getting torn apart. I thought it was the best I've seen Drinan and Palmer link up. I thought they were quite close to each other. I thought they were working off flicks. Yes, some of the things didn't come off, but the ideas were there. And I agree with Nick that when it's a free, it's a struggle because they don't get close enough to each other and it can leave 1 or 2 of them isolated. But I'm on the other side of the coin with Palmer. I think he does a lot that a lot of people see that goes a bit unnoticed, and people just think that it's a given that he should be able to do that. I think he is good link up. I think he gets the ball under control for us and brings other people into play. I do agree with the comment that's just come up here. Let's not joke. We've had big strikers before, and we've said this before, and we've said this with Harry Smith before. He is good, but we need people around him with energy, runners that are going to do the running in behind. So when we play someone like Palmer up front, it can't be in a 4-3-3 where he's down the middle on his own because the people don't get close enough. It looked a bit better in the first half for me because Drinan was there with him. And I know the stuff didn't come off, but it looked better. But because defensively we were so exposed down the sides against Salford with their pace, we had to go to 4 at the back because our wing backs were getting too high, which is what they've got to do. And the space was down the sides and we were getting completely exposed. So that's why Holloway went to the 4, which I can't disagree with. But I just think we've got to be a bit careful with this. I understand that Palmer's going to get a lot of criticism. He was this big signing that's come through the door and people were expecting him to hit the ground running. If you look back at his record, he's not a natural goal scorer. He's not one of those that scored loads and loads of goals. He's in the team to be that up the top end to try and bring the ball down. And yes, he's not going to do it every time, but I think he has got some serious quality. I think he can bring people into play. He wins. The amount of times me and Woody have said at home that he wins flicks that people do, and then he looks like the bad one because he's flicked it to no one, but no one's ran onto it. So I think you've got to give a bit of a slight counter. I understand the frustration. I get it. But he is a target man that needs people around him, and it needs the service to be right. Because if you're just constantly hoofing it up to him, yes, he will win flicks, but he ain't going to win everything. And he ain't going to get everything pristine under control and bring everyone into play. But I think we've got to be careful of turning him into a bit of a scapegoat because I don't think his performances. I wasn't there at Luton, so I'll give you that one. But from the games that I've watched, I've never thought that he is the most horrendous. And I can't have people saying for his lack of trying. I think he's doing.
Yeah,
I think he's doing all right.
But half the problem then is it the way Holloway is setting the team up? Because what you said there is he flicks on, he holds ball, and I don't think he's been doing that well. But if we haven't got players running off of him or close to him, then that becomes a problem. And
totally
so whose fault is that? But I still say he is a much better player coming off the bench, which is how I would like to see him play. And he's been better at that in previous games where he's done that. And then he has posed a different danger to a defence if he comes off the bench. As a starter, not for me.
So from my perspective, because I was going to do some of the individual player stuff after, but as you've started it, we'll carry on with these two at this moment. Speaking, I sit somewhere between the two of you at this point, because speaking specifically about Saturday, I saw Palmer get a lot of criticism by the fan base online. And I, for one, that the spell in the first half for the sort of 20, 25 minutes where Salford dominated, yes, he was poor. But I feel every Swindon player was poor in that spell. Palmer was not in the top 3 or 4 worst performing players in that game. I think there is merit in what Nick says. I think most of the fan base will agree. Palmer and Drinan do not work as a pair. They just don't work for whatever reason. On paper, for the available strikers, they are our best two, but they do not work as a pair. We've seen it enough times now to know it does not work. I do think Woz is right. The first 10 minutes of the game, there were signs that there was something there, but it just wasn't quite clicking. But overall, they don't work as a pair. Now, I'm going to be slightly potentially controversial here, and this is specifically to Saturday. And I know that it's what their job is, and he's done that. But with the exception of scoring his goal, Drinan was poor. And when I say poor, I mean very, very poor on Saturday. Offered virtually nothing. His press wasn't there. He didn't win stuff with the ball. He wasn't contributing anything after that first 10 minutes and only came back to life when Palmer went off. Palmer was winning the flick-ons. I think he must have had somewhere in the high 80s in terms of aerial duels won. He was actually drifting out wide. He was helping Joel when he came out to the right-hand side. He was doing bits out wide as well. But yes, you want Palmer in there trying to score the goals, but he was too busy doing all the other work that no one else was doing. He was doing the work you'd expect Drinan to do, but he wasn't doing it. So for me personally, and I can see Woody very much isn't going to agree with this, with the exception of his goal, Drinan offered nothing. And it's the only time I can say, and I put this in the chat, so you know I'm not just saying it for the effect of tonight's show, it's the only time I've come away feeling actually disappointed in Drinan because he didn't show me anything, didn't do anything that warranted. I couldn't understand. I got it in the sense of what he was trying to do, but out of the two, if you're asking me who should have been substituted, it would have been Drinan based on performance. I know why he wasn't, because he's the one that scores goals this year, and he scored another goal on Saturday. But if you're asking based on performance in the game, Drinan's the one that gets dragged before Palmer, easily. And Woody, I can see you're not going to agree with that.
I fundamentally disagree with it. Because the reason I say that, you didn't see Drinan's press because Salford didn't play around the back. There was no requirement for a press.
Salford had plenty of the ball at the back.
They didn't have that much, and Drinan was there.
Their second goal came from them having the ball at the back.
No, it didn't. It came out from the left back. Came from, like,
who was at the back, came into the middle and played the long ball over the top.
So no. But the point I was trying to make though is like you've just said, Drinan could disappear in a game and still score a goal. Palmer, and I agree with the strengths he does have. We have not seen those strengths happen in the last 2 games. He did not win 80% of his flick on headers.
100% he did.
I'm gonna try and find the stats, and I'm telling you now.
I would love you to.
And I'm just gonna find this comment here because Wazza will know exactly what I'm talking about on this one. I can't scroll up. There we go.
Which one do you want?
That one. He was 12 yards from goal. All he had to do was turn that player and shoot, and he didn't do it. He tried to play the ball back. So for me, a best back to goal striker in the league turns when you're 12 yards from goal, turns and shoots. You're right though. Nobody played very well. I don't think he did. I don't think he did win that many flick-ons. But
you got to remember, Woody, that I was sat right in line with it. I know exactly how many.
Yeah, but so was I at the other end. So it's like it's the same thing. And like, and the thing is, and also what you've got, what everybody's got to remember. Well, not everybody, but what you got to remember is I don't always look where the ball is. I look elsewhere across the pitch. Palmer was dropping in deep when he didn't need to. Okay, and then we're saying he's pumping the ball up and nobody's flicking onto him. But for me, a lot of the time he was picking the ball up and players were already beyond him. And then he wasn't turning his player. He wasn't keeping. He was exactly the same on Saturday as he was on Tuesday. Exactly the same. He miscontrolled the ball several times, which I don't care whether we signed him as from a Wrexham. The guy is one of the highest earning players in the team, right? And I can accept he's had a bad game. I'll accept he's had a bad game. What I won't accept is the fact that people are saying that he did really well at this, he did really well at that. He didn't. You know, he wasn't holding the ball up very well at all on Saturday or Tuesday. And but I do agree that Drinan and Palmer don't work as a two. I do agree with
Yeah,
that. But
that's a big problem.
I've been saying that from day one. But then we're sat there saying like, you know, Holloway's putting them as a two. They must be doing something right because surely Holloway's seeing it. So they must be doing something right in training or something like that. I'd love to see the stats
Well,
and suggest.
all there is that Glatz is injured, so he can't play his preferred two.
They've got to keep going with it because I'm sorry, like you said earlier, that's not categorically, unless we see this Fletcher Holman look lively, which we will come on to. But if we're going to keep playing this formation,
the hope there is that Holman can do what Glatzel does. It's clearly the hope.
Yeah. But it's, you know what I mean, it's different styles at different times. Like there'll be times where we're going to want the wingers on the pitch like Olakibi and Holman, and there's going to be times when we're going to need to put two up front. And there's no doubt in my mind that Palmer and Drinan are those two best two. Let's not, I know we haven't seen enough of it, but we're into the second half of the season now, and we can't give up on it because there are two. You know what I mean? You've got to play them together. The only way they're going to get better to play is to keep playing together. And hopefully we've got to hope that it just clicks. And I agree that he wasn't great, but both of them weren't great on Saturday. But Drinan gets the accolades because he got his goal. But I was just to the point where I just kind of think there was some, you know what I mean, some hope there, because I did think they were trying. Sometimes they look very disjointed, that they don't want to pass to each other. But there were moments on Saturday where it looked like that they were really trying to link up with each other. There was a few give and goes and 1-2s, you know what I mean, just trying to work at things. And I think we're not going to, I can't see us maybe signing another striker. I don't know, but
we don't need another one.
No, so I you know what I mean, these are the two. These are the two that are going to get us towards the top. You know what I mean, where we are, and if we stay.
I don't think we can afford to.
Sorry, Nick.
Sorry, go on, Sophie. You say we've got to stick with them and let it work. We haven't got a season left to make that happen. We can't go on another 4 or 5 games with those two not working as a pair. Because it won't get us anywhere.
What about the games that we have won, Nick? Like it's not.
Yeah,
like
but how many times? I mean, I'd have to look. How many times have they actually started together and played well? Without looking, I don't know how many times that pairing has started a game and the results we've had.
Someone to do this stat.
We need a stat man. We need a stat man.
Well, Cheltenham away, they started together. Gillingham at home, they started up front together. I'm just
while Woz is looking at this, and Barry, by all means, jump in on this, depending on which side of the argument you are, but particularly for Woody and Nick, what I'd love to know is I'd love to ask the question the other way. Palmer has been getting caned for 48 hours online by the Swindon fans. Take the goal out of it. What did Drinan do that was that much better? Because Drinan isn't getting caned at all. And he was really, really bad on Saturday.
Because he scored.
Right.
Because
that's all
I need my strikers to score. Hold on. For the last 3 years, we were saying we didn't have a striker that scores goals. We've now got a striker that scores goals, and we're going, hold on a minute, what else is he bringing to the table? We can't have both.
He's contributed from someone else's hard work, and he's done his bit, sure. But he hasn't helped Palmer. Palmer's getting caned, but Drinan hasn't helped him to score a goal.
But why would Palmer need help? I don't understand the question. Why would Palmer need help?
So what I'm saying
he's more experienced.
Drinan isn't getting caned for not performing for 89.5 minutes.
Because he scored.
Because he got his one goal. He's benefited from the hard work of his teammate. But where was Drinan's hard work for his teammate?
I don't think I agree with that narrative of the fact that Drinan just wasn't working hard.
See, the thing is, I'm a Drinan fan, but what I'm saying is, on Saturday, he was very poor.
Yeah,
for generally the whole game.
What I'm saying
is not getting caned at all. He's not getting caned at all.
But what I'm saying is that what me and Nick are trying to say is there's a repetitive pattern here. Palmer's had two bad games in a row. Drinan wasn't. Tafazoli wasn't poor against Luton. Okay, and
we'll come on to Tafazoli in a bit.
Sorry, I was saying it obviously in jest because Tafazoli was on the team. Say Pfeiffer. When you're angry, you don't get any jokes.
No, I very much got it. But you're deflecting from the question. I'm asking what Drinan did in the game.
Right. One point on that, Pfeiffer, is How many chances were created for him?
Drinan?
Yeah, one.
I don't know, 3 or 4.
Then he scored. Really? Clear-cut chances? I don't think so. I
You
don't
never
remember
clear
him.
cut. You asked how many chances. I reckon he had 3 or 4.
Oh, again, I would have played a game back. I don't. The whole team didn't create enough. So, if you're not creating chances for your forwards, whether it's Drinan or Palmer, obviously you've got a problem. The second half, the Holman crossing, Palmer in the middle, scores. Yeah, but
it is weird though, because I've just scanned through the fixtures and you say that they don't work together. Chesterfield away started, Cheltenham away started, Gillingham at home started.
Was it? Don't let facts get in the way of a decent story.
Bristol Rovers away until Drinan decided to get sent off. So he's all right to keep getting suspended and have moments.
Hold on.
Madness.
You can't bring Bristol Rovers being sent off into that because everybody knows.
I'm sorry, mate. He did get sent off, and that was another 2-game ban. So we moan that we can't have Palmer and Drinan playing together. But if Drinan can sort of somehow try and keep his head and try and stay in the team for us, so we can get a run of him and Palmer playing together, it might be a bit helpful. I
have exactly, and this is why I want to come back to it in a bit. Nigel made a comment earlier about how Swindon are soft in midfield and need Ollie Clark. I want to make exactly the same point. We don't need Ollie Clark. Ollie Clark is unreliable. We need Ball is what we need. We need him to be starting.
Yeah,
because he's reliable. Since he's got back to fitness, he isn't missing games through injury. He isn't missing games through suspension. And he certainly isn't costing us fucking 7-game suspensions for being a dick.
Yeah, but Bill's been playing right back recently. When he's been in the team, he's been playing right back.
But we have seen
he hasn't been playing in the middle.
No, but he is naturally a central midfielder that he's been personally played out of position. But if we're saying, and we'll come to that in a bit because we're going away from the point that was being raised. But he is a natural holding midfielder, and if we're saying soft, he is the one we need. By the way, it is
Rotherham away, Drinan and Palmer.
There's been an injury time equaliser in the live Premier League fixture. Right, let's. Okay, does anyone else want to come in on the
Drinan, at home, Drinan and Palmer?
On the Drinan and Palmer thing, does anyone want to add anything before we move on?
Well,
I think they've just got to stick at it. I really do. I just like there's none of these strikers that have come in inspire me enough at the moment to be like, oh my god, they're going to break in. I know it's only been a few games and that might be a bit harsh, but it's not enough. These two are the ones that we've got to put off.
While I'm agreeing with Wazza on Saturday, I actually agree more with Woody and Nick overall. I would rather see Drinan play with, say, the 2 new young lads, just slightly wider of him, because I think we will get the best out of Drinan then. And this is why I don't personally think that Palmer and Drinan work as a 2. But I just believe Palmer is getting unnecessarily caned for Saturday when those that were playing with him were not supporting him in any way. Like I said, a few of us, and while some might not agree, a few of us believe he won his fair share of aerial duels. His partner was not getting on the end of them and was not even anywhere near getting on the end of them. That's arguably more about his positional sense than anything, because Palmer's done his bit. He has won the ball and put it in an area. Drinan not running onto it is on Drinan. But you can argue that, and that will obviously carry on being debated. And some will think Palmer played okay. I'm not saying he was great. I'm saying he was okay. And others will say Drinan scored. That's all that matters. What did he do for the rest of the game? Nothing. Had no impact at all. And well, I agree, because I will make the same argument as Woody at times. I need my strikers to score goals. What I also need my strikers to do is score enough goals that we win a game. If our defence isn't performing, we need our attack to play. We didn't score enough goals to even get a point. So we needed our strikers to be more effective than for 20 seconds in the game. But
we need to play as a unit, and we didn't do that Saturday.
Yeah,
I agree.
And also, whilst I do agree, we got to remember the player that went off for Palmer, came on for Palmer, set up Drinan's goal.
He did.
And that was from fast wing play, which neither Palmer or Drinan could argue off of that, really, because Drinan's final ball isn't as good. But
Palmer ain't bad out there. Palmer's put a few in, hasn't he? I think he's assisted a few from out there. A few crosses gone in. I know it's not ideal, but you know what I mean. He's got quality on the ball, hasn't he? To put it in there. I agree with what you said. Holman come on and made a difference, and he looked busy out there, and he put in a great ball for Trinin's goal. But I would kind of think that I think Palmer would score that as well. It would shoot me down if I'm wrong.
He wouldn't be anywhere near it.
Come on.
Well, on
lads.
Saturday. On
Come
Saturday,
on
anyway.
now.
How many goals has he scored? How many goals has he scored from more than 10 yards out, which is where Drinham was, 12 yards out.
While the boys finish this particular debate, I'm just going through the comments. Liam, I'm definitely coming back to yours later in the episode as well. The midfield is definitely not short of blame here. We'll be coming on to that as well. Agree with Woody regarding Palmer and Drinham. There's a lot of points that Woody and Nick make that we completely agree. Barry, you
What
say...
I will say, sorry, Fifer, what I will say, by the way, I don't hate Palmer, by the way. I don't like players who have two bad games in a row and then it's like magnified on the player that scored a goal. I just don't think Palmer should have started on Saturday based on his performance on Tuesday. I genuinely think he was that bad on Tuesday, and I was quite surprised that we didn't start the
delighted you said that.
I can't remember the lads. I call him Michael, whatever his name is.
I call him Mo.
Yeah, I was quite surprised. Quite surprised he didn't start. Fletcher Holman, I get he's probably not been with us that long. But yeah, but then let's be honest, we're all sat here criticizing. I'm going to give credit here. Holloway did hold his hand up and said, maybe I got it wrong. So, it's part and parcel.
Barry, just as a final point on this, I know you weren't at the game on Saturday, but just on Drinham and Palmer generally.
I think my only observation, I only really realised this properly on Tuesday night, is just how slow Palmer is compared to the rest of the game, to be honest. But I think where I sit down the front, you can't really notice it because you don't see the perspective. But yeah, I think, it's time to start giving the others a bit of a chance for me because, there's a lot of fanfare came with him, but on the goal front, what is he on? Is it 5 or 6?
5.
I think it's 5, yeah.
It's not. You'd expect more, to be honest, considering everyone says how
goals per minute is.
Not a clue.
115 minutes per goal. I was just having a look at some other stuff.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So
it's respectable when we've got a top scorer. It's respectable when we've got a top scorer. But maybe it's a confidence thing. But I said to Wazza, for me, if he doesn't score, I don't feel that we get what we need out of him. But that's just from my view. I get why people are, and I want him to do really well. Me and you have discussed it regularly, Fifey. I genuinely want him to do well. Often the Palmer thing is because I like Oldacre, and I think Oldacre is in the situation that Palmer's in now. With before this, I think Oldacre gets a lot of flack. When
Oldacre was probably our second best player on Saturday.
Yeah. But he got player of the match as well. I mean, I don't know if that was his mum and dad picking it or whatever. But
okay, let's talk about some of the specifics, and we will come on to individual player performances either throughout these topics or at the end of the game specifically. But after what was a fairly decent opening, kind of 10 minutes or so for Swindon, Salford started to play. And Swindon just seemed to completely forget how to do the defensive side of the game. And before anyone knew, we were not only 1-0 down, but 2-0 down against a promotion rival. I've got to try and remember this now and get this correct. The first goal coming courtesy of a set piece where, and this will bring up a debate, I'm sure, it was that there were many, many errors made. The corner was played in. Arguably, my man of the match, Wilson Brown, with one of the few things he didn't do very well. He didn't beat his man to the first ball, but it went over both of their heads. Our prime YouTubing defender then also got beat to the ball, and his man did get on the end of it. And our box commanding great communicator of a goalkeeper did absolutely nothing to try and stop it going in the net, and we were 1-0 down.
Well, you got to give a bit of credit to the actual corner it was taken. It was a hell of a ball in there. Yeah. So
see, I'm one of these who generally,
and
unless
Ripley
it's
was
an
getting
absolute howler, set piece goals, you're generally saying well done to the attacking team because you've executed the set piece goal. It has to be an absolute howler for it to really be a defender's fault from a set piece. Sorry, you were going to say about Ripley, Nick.
He was just getting blocked all the time. In fair play, their tactics worked. He couldn't get basically off of his line. Now maybe he should be able to sort that out as an experienced goalkeeper, but that was what was happening. They were blocking and putting bodies in the 6-yard box, which not many teams seem to have been doing that recently. They seem to all be this, let's copy Arsenal and stay on the edge of the 6-yard box and have a little train going backwards and forwards. But they piled bodies into that 6-yard box, and it caused us problems.
I agree with Nick. It was
coach. Oh, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say it was quite. I was actually, in some ways, I kind of agree with Nick that it was almost quite good to see, because a lot of teams don't do it because there's always going to be a foul given to the keeper. Like 9 times out of 10, it ends up in and they just found a way to do it. Maybe because we pissed off all the referees, so they were probably going to get away with it anyway. Because we pissed off all the refereeing community after their incompetence last Tuesday. But
that's why they gave us Breakspear for Saturday.
No, and I have to admit, I did clock that, because on every single corner they literally surrounded Ripley, and you say, it's funny because you wouldn't necessarily surround a keeper who's good at not commanding his area, but is good at dealing with aerial duels in corners, because you make a keeper weaker by doing it in that situation, if that makes sense, rather than trying to weaken a strong keeper in that area. You do it the other way.
From a coaching perspective, what did you make? I mean, me and Nick have just said you give plaudits to the attacking side for executing a set piece. I know it's difficult when it's the team that we're supporting, but do you share that mentality? Or I know you were looking at areas where Swindon could have defended it better.
Yeah, I mean, again, Nick makes a good point about it being good attacking set piece. I've probably been quite critical of when we haven't praised the attack more than the defence, or more than criticised the defence. I do think that it was a category of errors I've just froze frame it on my, can't get my words out tonight. Just froze frame it on my thing. And I think there's easily probably 3 Salford players that could have won that ball that came across. Wilson Brown hasn't gone after his player, hasn't jumped with his player, which is kind of rule 1. And then Tafazoli is the one who was meant to be marking the player who did score the goal. But it was quite a dangerous free kick. I'll give him the credit there. But equally, I think sometimes that true art of just defending your one-on-one situations could have prevented that situation. I mean, that if you look just beforehand, and I'm not going to target Wilson Brown here, but that guy has got a comfortable 2.5, 3 yards on him before Wilson Brown's even got near him. So I'd have to have a proper look at the build up to that. But if you narrow down to those specifics, you can go, when is that going to happen again? And what's the alternative? That sneaky little kind of shirt pull that, you tell your players to do, like a tug at the hip and all of that. But which a lot of it was happening. Palmer was getting it all the time. There was a lot of players that there was the dark arts were mastered by a typical Carl Robinson side, but we're just not that type of side, I don't think. And again, Holloway said it, but I feel that Tafazoli's not really challenged, and neither is Wilson Brown in that situation. But if you freeze frame it, there's quite a few players there, Salford players, that could have just tapped it in. I don't like to criticise the keepers in those situations, because I don't know enough about what I would expect a keeper to do in that situation. I know what I want my keepers to command their area, but like Nick said, I know, having only played in goal a few times, it is difficult when you are surrounded, because you've got to be careful not to trip up a player, because if you trip up a player, you're giving a penalty away. But yeah, and he's big like that, isn't he, Ripley? But when he's not the he's not the tallest, so let's say. But I think Ripley wasn't that particularly great either. I think, again, as I said earlier, bad day for us to have a bad game.
Ripley, and we will come into this in a little while, but Ripley, not very good is arguably understatement of the season. Ripley was agonizingly and extraordinarily bad. Like really, like we for the first time, I don't think we've done this before. We started ranking the players, not necessarily in match ratings and stuff. We all started putting in the chat on Sunday morning, just least bad to most bad player. And I put him rock bottom because I'm struggling. And I know there will be so many that the people in the chat can come up with. But I'm really struggling, particularly in modern times where we've had some not great goalkeepers. I'm really struggling to think of a more totally 90 minutes surrounding abject goalkeeping performance than that. Like, that is as bad as I have seen any Swindon Town goalkeeper, possibly in the entire time I've supported Swindon. Like, it was a terrible performance. Absolutely terrible. And there'll be more of that to come. If we can possibly make a case for him or his percentage role in the first goal, he certainly plays a part in the second, which was just and I think Ian Holloway described it as just a terrible, terrible goal. The ball is in the Salford half. I think Woody's right. It was on their left-hand side. They kind of cruise into the middle under absolutely no pressure at all. They put a long ball over the top, which Wilson Brown doesn't get on the end of. It goes over him. His man gets a decent touch, I have to say, by the Salford player. And then I never thought I'd say this with any sort of sincerity in presenting one of these shows, but a ball was played, and I did see a suggestion, and I don't know, I'd have to go and watch this back, that the player's actually shanked a shot himself, and it's looked like across the box, which I'm not sure I necessarily agree with. But what I did see is two vastly experienced, very many appearances, professional centre-backs, who I thought even I could outpace in getting to the ball, because I've never seen such a slow duo trying to get back and defend. And again, I reiterate, our solid communicator, dominator of his box, scared stiffs, bored on his line, not moving. So the Salford player who scored, I can never pronounce his name correctly. It was the winger who caused us problems for quite a lot of the game. He had the freedom of Swindon, in fact, the freedom of Wiltshire, to put this ball in the net. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that Ben's dad was there and I didn't want to make a terrible impression in front of Ben's dad, I would be saying words that I'd never said at a football ground before, because the stand, I was right in Fool's corner and it got a punch. That's how angry I was at the defending. The actual stand got punched. That I was thinking words that I don't naturally say. And I knew that everyone was going to come at me and say, you just don't like Will Wright. Like, Will Wright's got a problem in this situation. But Tafazorli, fuck me.
Awful.
I've never, ever thought I would say that he has single-handedly done some of the worst defending of the season. That is
He's not even made
crucified. Sorry, Woody. Will Wright got crucified for his part in Salford's winner in the reverse fixture. Tafazorli, my word, that was bad defending. But again, Tafazorli had. I'll grant Woody, because I know Woody wasn't as impressed by me and Wilson Brown. Like I thought Wilson Brown had a very good game overall. Wilson Brown, okay, probably could have at least attempted to head it. Tafazorli, terrible. Will Wright debatably has a part to play in this as well, because he's just as slow at doing anything. I get the point Nick was making about Joel. He can't be blameless in it either. And like I say, Ripley just stood on his line, not even attempting to close down the space, is criminal. Honestly, they should all be brought up on charges against imitating professional footballers. It was that bad. Honestly, it was that bad. And I would love anyone to come on and say it wasn't that bad defending. It was criminally bad.
The only argument, I'm not going to give an argument.
Go on, Wad, you argue this.
No, but it's gonna go down to, this is where Holloway said that he maybe got it wrong. We all know what Salford are like. They're very mobile. They've got quick wingers. They've got quick, the guy down the middle wasn't exactly quick, but he wasn't slow either. I think he got the selection completely wrong. We're missing a Mabete or a Knight Lebao that have got that bit of pace in the back three that helps massively. And when we were playing the system in the second half, when we went to a 4, it sort of made it a little bit more easier to deal with because you could get away with it a little bit more with a back 4. But with the back 3, we were just getting pulled pillar to post. And Tafazoli isn't quick. Wright isn't quick. I'm not saying Wilson Brown's slow, but he's definitely not as quick as a Mabete or a Knight Lebao. So that would be the only argument that I would give. And don't get me wrong, I know Knight Lebao isn't fit, so he can't be in the conversation. But there's no coincidence that we've looked a lot better recently. And I remember going to Chesterfield away and stuff like that, where we had Knight Lebao back there. And I'm not saying him or Mabete, if you're going to play this free, needs to start for me because they've got that bit of pace that to cover that ground that you need sometimes to do. Tafazoli, it did look awful for that second goal, but he's just we've got quite a high line. We've been done over the top and he's not quick getting back. So I don't know what we were expecting. I agree that it was awful. I get it. I totally do. But I think you've got to give a little bit of help that there. I don't think that goal happens if a Knight Lebao or a Mabete's in there because I just think they win the first contact. And I was very happy with Wilson Brown on Saturday, but that was one of the things. He's got to win that first contact or you can't let it go over the top of your head. And that's what he's done.
I think it has to be Wright or Tafazoli. I didn't think we'd be saying this, but I do agree. I think we really miss Knight Lebao back there.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're going on form alone, and it was just form, you're going Knight Lebao, Mabete, and Wilson Brown as your back three. You're not having either Wright or Tafazoli. But I know that Woody and Nick were very complimentary of their performances against Luton. So I think it has to be one of them maybe as the central defender with the younger ones either side. I don't believe... We were saying just, 10 minutes ago? We're saying that Palmer and Drinnan doesn't work. Tafazoli and Wright does not work.
Tafazoli doesn't work against certain teams. I think Holloway's got to work that out. There'll be no questions asked next week when Tafazoli lines up away at Bromley. Direct, big team, big units. Tafazoli is very much going to be needed. But against a team like that are mobile, like your Salfords, who else are we going to come up against that we know have got a mobile front three? Notts County. Although you could argue that maybe he does need to be in against a Jata. If Jata is still there, no, he hasn't. He played Saturday for Notts County. Is he gone or what?
He scored, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I don't know.
Because I thought he said he got transferred.
Yeah, I know we'll come on to this, but I think there's games that Holloway has got to work out that Tafazoli will work in certain games, but he won't in others. And I think he got it wrong selecting him on Saturday. I think he should have gone with Mabete against a mobile team like Salford that like to knock it about. There'll be teams, like you say, with Bromley away, there's no questions asked. Tafazoli's got to play because he will, against that cheek, he will be a big, big presence and he has to come up against that.
But is that the one where Wright then comes out?
I would say so. But I don't know. Yeah. Does he keep Wright and then go Mabete instead of Wilson Brown? Or could he have done, because we haven't got this left wing-back problem at the moment, I think McGregor or Snowden look a bit lost out on the left. I would rather put Wilson Brown at left wing-back because...
I was about to say,
He's that natural left footer. And he put a couple of really good balls in on Saturday, Wilson Brown, from left side. He put a really good couple of crosses into the box, which it shows it could work. I just think you're killing someone like McGregor or Snowden because they're not naturally left-footed and they're getting, you know what I mean? So it's trying to put these players in the right positions for certain games. And this is the joys of having a big squad, isn't it? But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Anyone want to come in on that second goal?
I was just going to say, just to back on Waz's point just very quickly, Fifey, as well. Not forgetting Luton, we played a back four. We didn't play a back three. Wilson Brown played left back. Yeah. Which and also the difference being, and I know we've joked about, and I agree with what you were saying about the reliability, but the midfield that we had against Luton was very different as well. We had Clark, Borland and Kilkenny, three players that will just, well, in the nicest way, as much as I love Oldacre, he's not going to give you the energy levels that Clark, Borland and Kilkenny do. So when we've got an energetic midfield, we can almost afford to have a back four. which is probably why it worked quite well. Because I thought Wright and Mabete were both very good against Luton, and but then, like I said, with the second goal, for my biggest criticism, and it's the first time I shouted at. Wouldn't have heard me. Obviously, I'm fucking a million miles back, but I went livid at Tafazorli for that second goal because it didn't even look like he made an attempt for it. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, it was like at least Will Wright just didn't get there. Do you know what I mean? He just wasn't good enough and wasn't quick enough and wise enough to get there. Wilson Brown's got beat, didn't make the challenge. Tafazorli almost just observed it happen, and that's what really irritated me about that, because if he had just even gone to ground at that point, he's probably intercepted that. So yeah, that was. But then, like I say, it's almost probably unfair to compare although I've said the same about Palmer, but it's probably unfair to compare the two structurally, because we had 3 on Saturday and we had 4 against Luton because of the midfield we had. It was a lot more effective. But yeah, I just think the second goal, I agree, it was our line was our line was way too high. And again, not that it warrants it, but that first ball that comes over as well, that was class. The defending was poor.
That's how to do a long ball properly.
Yeah, I mean that was continental long ball, that stuff, wasn't it? That was if anybody, I know we're all really angry about the defence, but if my because it was a centre midfielder who played it from the left hand side, if my centre midfielders picked the ball up facing his own goal and managed to turn and pick a ball out like that, that is chemistry to its T. He knew that player was running onto that. So yeah, whilst the defending was really poor, I will admit I did admire that pass when I watched it back.
CJ said, so Fifey, are you saying Tafazorli benefits from the work of Knight LaBelle like Drinnan does from Palmer? And no, I'm saying that Tafazorli benefits from the work of Knight LaBelle the way Drinnan should benefit the work of Palmer. But they don't, and that's the difference. Just as we thought the game might be getting away from us, any criticism that we had of Salford's first goal, their fans will have exactly the same, because somehow the smallest guy on the pitch has found his way to the front post and nodded Swindon back into the game. One of our own, as goes the chant, pulls us back into it. And it was somewhat against the run of play, I would argue, at the time, Nick. But what it did do was give Swindon that kind of shot of adrenaline or whatever. And from that moment on, Swindon were the dominant side for the rest of the half.
Yeah, well, which is what you'd expect. You pull a goal back from 2 down, and you are going to push it. Like you say, it just gives you that. Again, as much as we criticise him with some of his free kicks, it was a really good corner in from Wright. It was really hard to see if McGregor did actually get a touch on it. It looks like it just glanced off of him.
Runs like a salmon, Nick.
Did he? Well, one on the fish desk in Sainsbury's.
Absolutely.
But fair play. You get across a player and it causes problems. And again, there were lots of players in that 6-yard box which caused them as big a problem as they caused us. So you put teams under pressure and get the right ball into an area and you've got half a chance of scoring. So yeah, for us, a decent goal. For them, they're probably fuming at giving that goal, letting that goal in.
Woody, you were going to say something.
I was going to say, McGregor, for me, is one of the best headers we've got in terms of the amount of times he wins duels. Like, we talk about Palmer, we almost expect it from Palmer. We almost expect it from Tafazorli. We probably should expect it from Wright because of how tall they are. McGregor's got a hell of a leap on him. I mean, like, the amount of times he's winning headers down that right wing or left wing back as well. Like, I'm not surprised when when I hear that he popped up and scored, because I actually missed that goal because I was dealing with my brat of a daughter. So I missed the goal, and I remember turning around to Ben, and was his brother?
No.
Friend.
Yeah.
Friend. Don't know why I said brother. It's because I've met the rest of your family this week.
Brother from another mother. Yeah, you did.
But yeah, so I was just like, who scored that? He went McGregor from a corner, header flicked on. And I just remember going, I'm not surprised. The guy can header the ball. And I generally think, like, McGregor, his leap is unbelievable. Like, if anybody wants to watch a player, if any youngsters out there, I know we're not allowed to header the ball anymore, But any youngsters want to know how to header a ball, and I'm only, 5 foot tall. Just watch McGregor. He's got a hell of a leap on him.
Well, there was one more action of note in the first half before the referee called it time, and it was the one bit of the game that Barry has seen, and it was Connor Ripley continuing his 3 out of 10 performance. Just as Swindon were trying to find their way back into it, Ripley decided he would do the next most comical thing a goalkeeper can do other than getting lobbed from the halfway line. He sprinted out of his area to absolutely smash the ball into row Z and clear the danger. And what he actually did was miss the ball completely, leaving the Salford player, 30 yards out with an open net. Thankfully, for all concerned by Swindon, he had absolutely zero composure and put the ball wide. Barry, I know this is the only bit of the game you've seen in the highlights. I was talking to you about this at Bassett yesterday. What's your thoughts on that particular moment in the game? Because that summed up Ripley for me.
Well, he attempted a hop, skip, and a jump, and just got a hop, skip, and a fuck up. Really, wasn't it? It was awful, absolutely awful. And like I say, I got to that point in the highlights and just turned it off. I thought it can't get any worse than that. I've seen quite enough. But yeah, I mean, it was shocking. You don't come out that far and then completely miss it. Like, yeah, a bit of a miss kick is fine, but to completely miss the ball, yeah, not on at all.
Now, it's very evident that, and we've discussed this before, when we've all been sat together, somehow we watch different games, but it's very clear today more than most times when we're sat in different parts of the stand, we're all seeing different things. Now, for me, it was absolutely woeful from him. But Woody, I'll come to you, who was sat further, close to sort of halfway to where I was. Did it look like he was going to did it look like he was going in at any point? Did it look like he was going to be punished for just being shit?
Well, I thought it was hilarious, to be fair. I was too busy laughing. but it was...
You would have been laughing if he'd scored.
No, I wouldn't have been. But to be fair, it happened, doesn't it? But I surprised?
Disagree more on this either.
Am I surprised the guy didn't score? No, not really. I think realistically, if you've got a bloodshot moment, the blood's getting to your head, and you've got to hit it. You almost have got no time to think about it. Although I think he did take a touch, didn't he? I think he took a touch first. So I'm not surprised he missed it. I sometimes think that the open goal for Nard is a bit overplayed, because I mean, he was 40 odd yards out, 40 yards out with a narrow angle, and you're hitting it with a rush of blood to your head. But yeah, it was. I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know. I think it was just because of the way the game had gone so far. I think I just found it hilarious. But
it was at that point our WhatsApp chat was exploded as well. Me and Rich were on the warpath at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The first thing me and Wazza looked at each other and went, right, 3, 2, 1, Rich.
We literally did say that as well. We literally. But it was something like, get Connor Ripley out of my fucking team.
Oh dear, we're all getting too predictable now. We're gonna have to change it up a bit.
But by the end of it, I was explaining to Barry yesterday my point in the WhatsApp chat that Ripley was so bad throughout the 90 minutes that we'd be better off playing without a goalkeeper. Was my suggestion of just playing with 10 men, because it would be more beneficial to us. What was
that happened right at the end of the game, didn't it?
Didn't it just?
When Old Acre had to put a sprint on. Yeah.
Darren.
Yeah.
Showing his turn of
ball out for them having an open goal.
Maybe we need to do that every time, because then we can see Darren's pace.
Yeah.
Channeling his inner Sonic.
Was just a word from you on Ripley's world-class step over.
We'd be talking a lot more. We would be talking a lot more critically if it had gone in, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
It's one of those. He's got away with it. I don't think it needs to be going on about. I do think he's been one of our better players. There were so many players miles off it Saturday, and he was one of them as well. I've got no doubt with Connor Ripley. If we're still having this debate that if it's does people still starting to whisper now after that performance? Should Lewis Ward be creeping back into the team? Not for me. Like, he might do tomorrow night, but there's no doubt in my mind that Connor Ripley will be in goal against Bromley on Saturday without an injury. You know what I mean? I just can't. He has been reliable. He's been one of our better performers in the last sort of 8 to 10 weeks. I'll let anyone have a bad game. Yeah, well, yeah, all right, yeah. I'll let anyone have one bad game recently, and they've all had, you know what I mean.
They've all done it in the same game.
Yeah. So hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be a reaction, and you know what I mean, from everyone really that's had a bad game. But he's got away with it. It hasn't cost us another goal. So in the end, you could say good dummy. To be fair, he probably.
So,
I just
I've seen
don't
a
get
couple
why he
of
tried
these-
to swing his right foot at it.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
if you that's the bit I couldn't grasp. It's like it's coming over onto your left foot. All he needs to do is get rid of it, and he's kind of
Tap it
tried to
over
be
the
clever
line.
and hit it with his right foot. It's like, I don't know. It was.
So I've seen a
although
couple
I
of
was
these
more
type-
annoyed about I was more annoyed about his positioning for the third goal. To be fair.
yeah.
Well, we're coming to that.
Yeah,
in a
we're going to
moment.
come into that.
I've seen a couple of these type comments that he's hardly played since Christmas. Maybe he should have played against Luton. Now, while I accept that players need to play minutes to stay match sharp, this is the same set of fans. I'm not saying it's exactly the same people. This is the same set of fans who criticise Ward if he does the single thing wrong and he only gets to play in the Virtue Trophy. Like, it's double standards. Like, I as much as anyone was critical of his non-penalty save that just went through him. But if we're giving Ripley the benefit of the doubt because he hasn't played due to games being postponed, you know, we have to give Ward all the benefit in the world because he only gets to play every sort of 9 to 12 weeks.
Yeah, fair call.
It's double standards. Ripley replaced Palmer and Ward in... What? Ripley replaced Palmer. Oh, Ripley replaced Palmer and Ward in goal. I see. Sorry. I was reading that without the punctuation. I wouldn't want to be a keeper full stop is probably the most fair comment anyone's made tonight on anything, arguably. Okay, so halftime comes. Swindon Town have got themselves back in it, Nick. And I don't know if you were of the same opinion, but me and Ben, we were doing a bit of a debrief at halftime. And we said what we need is Holloway to really get into the lads, say, look, we've got ourselves back into this. We need to start the second half with energy. And once again, everything that we expected and required from the club didn't happen because it was slow, it was ponderous, and once again, we conceded another goal.
Like I said earlier, I think he should have made the changes at half time. We had an opportunity to change personnel, change the way we were playing. I think if he'd have put the three on that eventually came on, that may and it may have made a difference. It may not. I'd say I couldn't understand why Palmer was still on, coming back onto the pitch for the second half. I'd definitely changed him. And I can't remember the lad's name, the midfield lad. He's got a bit of bite about him, which we needed that in the middle. So I'd have definitely put him on it at half time. And Michael on the wing to give us that bit of pace on the outside. I couldn't understand why the changes weren't made earlier. So I think that would have helped us. But whether it made a big difference, obviously we don't know. But my point is that should have happened earlier than it did.
We get to the third goal, and as you say, we just end up chasing the game the entire time. We think we've got ourselves back into it, that it feels like Swindon have got ahead of steam, but we concede and we've got a 2-goal deficit again.
Yeah, well, you say that, but they did score that goal in the 72nd minute. You know what I mean? I don't.
Well, yeah, not saying it was early. I'm just saying Swindon didn't start with the energy we needed.
Yeah,
and
we were all
it's
saying
cost
that
us.
how we got back in from the first half to be back in the game was massively important. And I was with you. We needed to score that first goal of the second half. Even if it would have come at the 75th, 80th minute and it would have got us back to 2-2, I think there would have only been one winner then, and it would have been us. But we were just, like you just said, we were just constantly chasing the game. And for a team like Salford, with being ahead and they had the pace on the counter attack, they were just able then to make changes and to sit in. And you can't blame them. They had something to hold on to. We give them something to hold on to, and they were good enough to do it. But it was definitely a lot more of a promising second half. I think when we went down to 3-1, the shackles just completely come off then, and then we got the second goal, and it just completely, you know what I mean, we were then back on it again, and we did have a couple of moments, you know what I mean, the Kirkman moment stands out to me where he's drilled the ball across the box, and that was a chance, and we've had a couple of more half chances and moments and stuff like that on another day could have gone in and we could be talking about a point. So, yeah, it was one of them. It was definitely an improved performance, but the goals we conceded, and we're going to talk about this third one, it was just calamity, wasn't it? We had the chances to clear the balls, and it was just a bit fluky and a bit thing. The only thing that wasn't fluky was the guy's finish. I thought it was a very composed finish. I think he's, you know, I mean, it was a decent strike. You just want him to put it on target, and he's put it in the corner, and it was a great finish. But there's a lot of things that we could have done differently to stop the goal. But I think that just summed up our defensive performance on Saturday.
What it did do, Woody, and again, I don't know if you agree, because I haven't asked you this specifically, but it did resurrect a point that a few of us, and I think me and you have discussed this at times this season, it did resurrect a point that we have. We have very few players, and I'm looking at the midfield as much as the defence here. We have very few tacklers in the team. We have very good interceptors, but for me, and I'm talking purely on Saturday alone, I think I said to you guys, Wilson Brown is the only player in the defensive sort of 7, if you like, 6 or 7. Wilson Brown is the only person that tackles. And yes, he loves that dramatic slide tackle and stuff, and he does it for the cameras, which is fine, because it comes off. I have no issue with that. But we have some very good interceptors, particularly in midfield. Kilkenny, great at picking up the ball. Nichols, not bad at picking up the ball either. And this is where I come back to the comments about Clark. I understand the points on Clark, but he's unreliable because he's been banned for about 12 games this season already.
I think McGregor likes to tackle as well, I think.
McGregor likes to tackle. Yeah, actually, I'll grant you that. McGregor likes to tackle. We'll come on to it again in a bit, but on that subject, I thought Snowden was so far off it compared to his usual standards. But on the subject of this, what the third goal did show us was how few people, we just sit off and let people come on, Woody. No one will put that tackle in.
Yeah, and I think that's where it came about, when obviously Old Acres kind of put a challenge in, fallen over, and then it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of bounced in between his legs a little bit, didn't it? And so I think that's where you see where you don't have those players who will just win the ball regardless of their position on the field, in terms of, like, are they falling? Are they whatever? They're pulling a player down or whatever. We definitely didn't really have that playing at that point in time. Yeah, and I guess it kind of led up to it. It's a good point you make, actually, around having interceptors rather than tacklers. I think Will Wright can sometimes. I think we do see it sometimes with Will Wright, but we didn't see it Saturday. But yeah, it's yeah. So I just think that it was a bit of a calamity of errors, that goal, wasn't it? I think Old Acres kind of, I don't know, I feel a bit sorry for him in that situation, because you could see he's tried to win it back and then he's almost fallen onto the ball. And then Will Wright's kind of got megsed, and as Wazza said, it was a good finish.
No, it's Taffazoli that got megged.
I've just watched it. I think it looks like Old Acres gone in for the challenge, and even I think he's got something on the ball, and he's nutmegged Taffazoli. And then he's gone for
very technical. He's very, very technical. So technically, megs his own players.
Old Acres creative everyone.
But yeah, I mean, as I said, one of my biggest criticisms was actually, that was my most annoying part of Ripley's goal, was I didn't feel his dive was very convicted at all.
Agree.
But yeah, so it's but yeah, I guess the third goal probably is one of the best summarizers of the whole game, really, in terms of there was just a silly, it's unfair to call it an error, because it's not an error by Old Acre, is it? But that kind of comedy of errors thing. He's made an attempt, and he's not been successful in that attempt, with the exception of nutmegging his own player. It's a bit like the Harlem Globetrotters go wrong, isn't it? It's just, yeah. Unfortunately, that's how that, and it probably summarised the whole game out of possession anyway.
I know, Fifey, I do agree with you with what you say about the Clark situation, but it's interesting the last few weeks that he has played, he doesn't like breaking up the Nichols thing, and he's been playing Clark a little bit higher. I think that is massively a part of what you've just said, that he likes someone that can tackle. And those two, they're like you said, I think your point is absolutely bang on. We've got midfielders that like to intercept, that are clever, that can get on the ball and pass and stuff like that. But we do miss sometimes in games like that and Ollie Clark in the midfield, someone that can that is not afraid to stick a challenge in, doesn't lose many 50-50s. And
this is why I'd love Ball to play more, because he is that player.
And I also quite like that about that Borland as well. I thought Borland on Luton was, and I think, and this is the thing, right? And obviously I know we joke about Oldacre, but the problem is for me, Oldacre, everything Oldacre offers is in possession. I think there's nobody who would deny that. Everything, but the problem is 9 out of 10 games in this league, you need a battling midfield. You need a midfield that are going to want to win that ball back, which is why some of Oldacre's best games have been when he's been further up the field and we've still managed to have three in the middle. And I agree. Someone like Borland, from what I've seen of him, would be the same. I mean,
Murphy was that type of player on his
Murphy was getting there. But then you've also, if you really want to be extreme, you could bloody chuck Mabete in there. You could chuck Wilson Brown in there. If you
could chuck Will Wright in there.
Yeah. So,
but then when does the argument flip back to the other way, that then you lose that little bit of guile?
Creativity. Yeah. So,
it's hard to get the balance.
Which is why I said about Tuesday. But I think one of the things that won us on Tuesday, ironically, was that midfield three of having Clark, Borland, and Kilkenny in there. Because you just had.
Is this where the argument starts to come that Nichols and Kilkenny maybe isn't the partnership anymore that it was at the start of the season?
I've seen a lot of people suggesting Nichols needs to get dragged for a bit.
And do you maybe then look at like when Clark? I know we keep saying when Clark's back, but then do you start with a Clark?
I'm not interested when Clark's back.
Clark or a Borland or then an Oldacre, because at the moment I feel in games, and we've always joked about Darren Oldacre, but I totally agree. He's in the team to offer us, and even that moment where he put Kirkman through down the left, I know it looks a simple pass, but the timing is great from it because he's dragged the defenders to him to make it look like that he's going to do the shot, and he's just peeled it down the side to Kirkman. He is probably technically one of our best footballers, Darren Oldacre. You know what I mean? And I agree that he doesn't offer an awful lot going backwards, but we say that, but I think it's getting there, his game.
He has endeavour, at least.
Yeah, he does. It doesn't look like he's not trying anymore. I think Holloway's got into him about that. But I kind of think that I would rather change at the moment the likes of bringing out a Nichols to bring in a Borland or a Clark and keep Oldacre in the team.
Yeah.
I would
really like to see
sacrifice
Kilkenny Oldacre.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Ball Kilkenny Oldacre as a free.
Yeah.
And that's not disputing. I haven't seen enough of him to know. I know you guys saw him at Luton. If Borland's that type of midfielder as well, fantastic, because you can never have enough of them. I got the impression Borland was kind of another Nichols and Kilkenny type player. I could be wrong because I don't know enough about him yet. But if he is that sort, if he's willing to put in that tackle, then yeah, absolutely, by all means, let it be Borland. But from what I know at the moment, I would like to see Ball, Kilkenny, and Oldacre as. I
think Borland just comes with that young, fearless attitude as well, because that makes a massive difference. If you're fearless, he's probably, God, touch wood, he's probably not had any major injuries, so he's still living fearlessly. But also, I wonder, because I couldn't for the life of it, I was trying to work out why Ball didn't get on Saturday, because I thought there were so many, regardless of how well people might have thought Wilson Brown had played, there was something wrong with that defence, and then we left it too late to bring Mabete on. I just wonder, maybe playing right back for, I don't know if I'm pretty sure he played 90 minutes against Luton. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe that knackered him out. Maybe it was always the plan that he wasn't going to play the full Saturday. But
we've always said about Ball that we manage his minutes, don't they? It's always been said about him.
I couldn't work it out, because I think Ball is very much an all-rounder midfield, even defender. He can offer on the ball and he can offer off the ball as well. So I was really surprised that we didn't see him introduced.
Did play 90.
He did play 90. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he might. And that's the only thing I can think of. Obviously, Holloway's got in his head at the moment, probably still got in his head how he's going to phase this period of 6 weeks, Tuesday,
massive
Saturday.
games, yeah.
Yeah. And he's probably sat there thinking, right, I can do this. Ball will play against Harrogate. It'll be those horrible,
Ball
nasty...
seems to be, he is a Tuesday night player. He always seems to be the one included.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Ball line up against Bromley next week. That wouldn't surprise me either.
Yeah, those kind of
with...
gritty games, those kind of
Yeah.
ones that we're going to need a little bit of guile about us. That'll be the games that he puts him in.
Yeah.
Okay. We did see a raft of substitutions. They worked to varying degrees. They all had some form of impact. Mabete came on. Kirkman came on the left. There was a moment of madness between them two where they both forgot what they were doing as well. But other than that, they were fairly steady and reliable. Mabete did one of his marauding runs forward as well and ended up playing striker as we went in search of an equaliser. We had, depending on what you decided, because no one seems comfortable. Sorry,
good point from Dale. We've totally forgot about the lad from Sunderland, haven't we?
Yes, he was the only one who didn't make the matchday squad.
Didn't make the squad, yeah, that's it. But he's come with rave reviews, and sorry to completely jump in that. We've all completely forgot there, haven't we? God, the options are limitless there for Middlemas.
I'm interested in people's thoughts on the player I'm affectionately calling Mo until I learn how to pronounce his surname properly. I thought he showed some nice touches, but he did give the ball away more than I would like. I thought Borland was all right when he came on. Obviously, the young man Holman, isn't it, from Wolves as well? He came on, got his assist for Drinnan's goal, and obviously people are instantly saying he should be in the starting 11 now. There were other moments as well, and I think that there was a comment earlier. Drinnan did get through as well, and if it wasn't for what even had me say, that's a fantastic challenge, last-ditch block to stop him getting a shot. Absolutely stunning piece of defending.
Was that Brandon Cooper as well?
No, it was Garbett, I think.
Was it Garbett?
I think it was Garbett, yeah.
Yeah, I remember Robinson mentioning it in his post-match, and he was saying, like, those are the moments. You know what I mean? Because I don't think we could doubt. I think Drinnan scores. I looked like it was going on target, didn't it? It looked like that the keeper was going to have to pull off a decent save. It was one hell of a block.
At that point, even I'm struggling to criticise his performance if he puts that one away as well.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, it was one hell of a block, and yeah, fair play to him. And I thought Brandon Cooper had a very good game. If we're talking ex-Swindon, I've always quite liked him, and I thought he was very, very decent. So they defended well, Salford. You know what I mean? In the big moments, in the key moments, they probably showed us how we should have done it. In that
absolutely.
game.
So I suppose my last question at this point. Let's not forget, Ripley actually went forward for a corner as well. He tried to,
and he missed that.
he missed that, and that's where we got to see Old Acres' change of pace. Fantastic. Ironically, our attacking midfielder was our best defender.
Ironically, the guy you probably want hanging outside the box to catch on Ripley's flick was the one back doing the defending.
So overall, unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Despite a few, as was said earlier, there were moments. We've discussed some of the individual player bits there as well. So what I would like is I'm going to ask you all a question, but on the back of it, if there's anything on any of the players that we kind of half mentioned that we've not gone into depth on, because I realise we're already into extra time and we've only done Saturday's game. So Woody, I'll start with you. The question to everyone is, I said Swindon got what they deserved. Do you feel that's a fair reflection? Do you think maybe we were worth a draw? And again, if you want to talk about Mo or Holman or any of the other subs that came on, then by all means add it in here.
No, I mean Mo, as you affectionately called him.
I'm calling him Mo for the time being.
I agree with you, but I think he did show a little bit of tenacity, dynamism to try and get forward into the right areas. He did lose a ball. He came on in a bad situation, to be fair. It was it's a bit like when Jake Tabor comes on, isn't it? It was just kind of like we're bringing players on when we're chasing games or we're seeing them out. Fletcher, I was impressed with what Fletcher Holman offered. I do like it. I do think I wouldn't necessarily say no to him alongside Palmer, but I'd like to see Mo and Fletcher Holman with either Drinan or Palmer down the centre type thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that tomorrow. To be fair, but no, to be totally honest, Salford were the better side. So when you say have we got what we deserved, yes, because they were the better side. I think they did everything better than us. They defended better than us. Obviously, they scored and attacked better than us, and they got the little bits right as well. Like Holloway said in his post match, they got the dark arts right. They had the referee on side, and I'm not saying that's the referee going against us. I'm just saying that they knew how to get the referee on their side for their decisions, and things like that. So. Yeah, I mean, Carl Robinson's just got a knack of doing that, hasn't he? He knows how to play against the Swindon team, doesn't he? So, but yeah, they stopped us from playing, and then we couldn't do the same to them, and we fell short. Very rarely you see McGregor get outpaced like and McGregor had a good game, but
McGregor did have a good game.
That was probably one of the hardest games he's had to come up against in recent history. So yeah, I think we got what we deserved because we weren't the better team.
Okay. Was?
Yeah, I do agree. We didn't deserve to get anything, but that's not saying that we didn't stop believing. We kept going, didn't we, to the end? And I think that's the sign of the Holloway mentality, that we won't give up, and we're especially at home. I think the fans deserve. I think we deserve a bit of credit. I think we stuck with them, and especially getting that second goal back, I think it lifted everyone again. And we thought, look, maybe we have got a chance of nicking something. But I do agree with Woody. I think Salford were full thing for their 3 points. I thought they performed well. I think they did everything that you need to do away from home, and you know, I mean, they played well in the first half and then dug in the second half. On the players themselves, I'm kind of glad Olakibi hasn't come in and done like a Prince to start with, because we would have been all raving again. So I've kind of liked that he's gonna. It looks like he's gonna build. What I loved about him, he was fearless. Even though he did lose the ball, he was happy to take people on. And when you take people on, you will lose the ball, because you're going to get tackled. You're going to get people swarm around you because they get worried about your pace. I still want to see him keep doing that, because I think he's got good pace. I don't want him to keep cutting inside. I want him to go at his man and try and get on his man one-on-one. Agree with Woody. I thought Fletcher Holman looked lively. Borland come in and done his job, and I think they look promising. They're only going to get better when they have more training sessions, more games, and we've certainly got a lot of games coming up where we're going to need them. So, you know, I mean, it looks promising, and yeah, it looks promising for what it is. But on regards to Saturday, I just don't think we deserved anything. We were chasing the game for too long. And for me, the first 30 minutes cost us from getting anything out of that game.
Okay, Nick?
Yeah, we had too many players under par. And you can get away with it if you've got 2 or 3 that aren't quite on it, and you've got 7 or 8 that are, you know, a 7-8 rating. And the level we're at, you can get away with that. But we had too many and key players that were very, very poor. I'd say, as I said earlier, we let them play, and I think that's what cost us the game. I don't think they're necessarily that good, although their results probably say they are, because they've had a good run. What's it, 8 games unbeaten, which you can't really argue with. They're on a bit of a roll at the moment, and you know, they did to us what we've done to other teams going away and getting a result. So it happens, and you've got to get that. There's not a massive gap between 1st and 8th. You put a below par performance against a team like that, and you're going to suffer. I agree with what was said. The players were trying and putting the effort in. Certainly in that last 20 minutes, you can't fault the effort. And again, as fans, that's all you ask. Put the effort in. Sometimes it's not going to work, and it wasn't our day. And reluctantly, I've got to say they probably deserve the 3 points more than us getting a point out of it.
Okay. Well, Barry, you've sat there patiently for the most part and listened to everything the boys have said. So now I ask you the big question. How do we put it right tomorrow? Same opposition, different venue, different competition.
It's going to be a difficult one because it's a game that could cause us more headaches in the long run, but it's also an opportunity to shine. Really, it's that opportunity for the players that have made mistakes to show what they can do.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a double-edged sword either way. People won't be happy if they go out there and win it because it's the extra pressure of more games and going to Manchester to get probably thrashed. But then again, if they lose, it'll be you've lost to Salford again. So yeah, it's going to be a difficult one.
Holloway certainly is not going to want to lose to Robinson 3 times in one season, that's for sure.
No.
I know your thoughts on this, and we'll come to it in a minute. But at the start of the day on Saturday, and me, Woody, and Nick said the same on Friday, and a lot of swimming fans did. We said we would take winning on Saturday and sacrifice the game on Tuesday. Does the fact we've lost on Saturday change that mindset at all? Do we now have to win tomorrow?
People are going to have a different opinion to me, and that's fine. But I am all about getting out of this League Two, and I'm one of those people that think a Man City game can be a real distraction, and it can be a real problem to your season. Now, people will shoot me down and say that I disagree. I think it's great for the fans. It's great, brilliant. Totally agree. Great to go to a big stadium like that. Let's not put it. We've got to get through tomorrow. So I don't think I'm going to be. I'm not going to be. Let's put it this way. I'm not going to be unhappy tomorrow if we lose. I'm not going to be. But if we win, I'll be buzzing to go to a great stadium like the Etihad to experience the day, and stuff like that. But I would err to the side of caution that I think these games can have a big impact on your season, and you're putting the Man City game against games that we've got coming up, like Bromley away, Notts County away. I don't care what these people think. Players will, in their head, be like, oh my gosh, that's the game I want to play in. I want to be at the Etihad. I want to be... And I know the argument will be, well, you've got to perform in the games before to get into the all of that, yeah. But there's definite an element of distraction for these games. There's definitely that. And for me, just want to get out of this league. I just want to get out. I want to get out of this league. And I think that, for me, the argument of if we lose tomorrow, or momentum and stuff like that, I can't have that. I just think that it will cause a distraction. And I want us to be all in on the league. And I've said this about people saying about the Virtue Trophy. I know it's a bit different, but I'm all about the league this season. I've never seen a better opportunity in the last 4 or 5, or how many years we've been down in League Two. I've not seen a better opportunity for us to get out of this league. And that is my main priority for this football club, for us, for me, for a fan at the football club. And I understand, and I get all the other people that want this glitz glamour tie of Man City. Totally understand. And let's put it this way: I will be at Man City if we get there. There's no doubt about it, because I'll be there for my football club and I want to be there. But for me, the priority is League Two. And I would, if you offered me, I know we said this last time, but I'm not overly fussed about tomorrow now. Don't get me wrong. I want to see a better performance. I want to see a bit of a reaction. I think Holloway will mix it up. I think there'll be a few players in that maybe, and a few changes. But the football club will dictate. I'm sure the powers above are going to Ian Holloway. We need to get through tomorrow because it's a bit of a money spinner, isn't it? And the other things that are big for a League Two football club like ourselves. But I just can't have that. The priority has still got to be our League Two season. And after the result on Saturday, with big games coming up against Bromley, you think we lose both of them against Bromley and Notts County? we could be in a bit of trouble because that top 3 space would not look as solid as it looked a few weeks ago. I'm sorry I've waffled on, but the
No,
League
not
Two,
at all.
the League Two is my priority.
So here's where it gets interesting, and Woody, I'll come to you next, because I agree with Wazza. Getting out of the division is 100% the priority. However, as we've said in the past, doing something in advance of a game does not mean that will happen in the game. For example, because there is a Man City game, that shouldn't, and I understand Wazza's thing, but that shouldn't affect the games leading up to it. And resting players tomorrow doesn't mean that they're not going to get injured in training ahead of Saturday anyway. So if they're fit, they should play. On the other side, again, Holloway's not going to want to lose to the same team 3 times in one season. We have this record at the minute where we've gone over a year without losing back-to-back games. He's not going to want to lose that either. And we don't want to get into a habit of not winning games. So do you think Holloway will go into this game, Man City or not, Woody, trying to win it?
I think Holloway's not going to change what lineup he had planned for this game anyway. I think the lineup that he was always going to play in this game is going to play in this game. I don't think Saturday has an impact on that. The issue that I now face, I mean, obviously, if we had played Salford and beaten them a few weeks ago, when it was postponed because there was a little bit of ice on the pitch, then we wouldn't be necessarily discussing this as a distraction. I don't think. I think because it's fallen now onto a Tuesday night, it's now seen that this could be more of a distraction. The issue that we've now got is we measure up that distraction versus momentum, because regardless of the FA Cup, and I know that I'm not sure who it is. It's Jay Just Sizzle. Make some good points. The financial beings, as was said, there's so much finance behind this now. Man City will give us more than 50% of the gate, because that's what Premier League sides tend to do with the lower league sides. And also the momentum piece comes into it because Salford are still a League Two side as well. So we're not going to want to necessarily go out to somebody in the same league as us, as well. So in terms of mentality wise, I don't think it's going to change. But the way that I look at it as a coach, and I get it. I get we've got a congested fixture period, but I feel that if we lose tomorrow, we can't change the whole 11. It's not going to be a brand new 11. So if we don't win tomorrow, as a second defeat in 3-4 days to Salford, we're then going into Bromley with 2 back-to-back losses against a team in the same league as us. That's the issue that I've got, and we're going to have players that will have played in both fixtures.
Sorry, Woody, just on the back of that as well, can I just add, because I know this is a point me and you have discussed at length at times this season, and again, I fully understand and appreciate Waz's concerns, but is this specific period now not exactly why we've been praising Holloway for building a squad? Like, we have a squad of players.
Yeah, which is exactly why I said I don't think Saturday influences what squad he was going to play tomorrow. I think he's had I reckon he's had all the way up to Bromley. These are the 4 teams I'm playing against: Luton, Salford first, Salford second, and Bromley. I reckon he's got the same 4. The Harrogate game's probably going to spin him off a little. Notts County game he would have planned as well. The only one that I don't think he's probably got a plan for is Harrogate, because it's so far at the end or towards the end of those fixtures. So he's got. But I genuinely reckon he had. When we went into this period, he had most of those lineups because they are all different competitions. So there is the flexibilities. Obviously we play Clark in the Virtue Trophy. Whether we are seen to manipulate the rules there or not, he's planned that to go, right, I can play him. There's an opportunity for me to rest a player there and arguably replace him with quality. But yeah, I don't know what Middlemass's situation is, whether he is just not fit enough yet or whatever, or why he wasn't in the squad. But I think he was always going to play tomorrow. I think he'll be in the squad tomorrow. I think I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we see someone like Tabor named on the bench, and things like that. I think he won't necessarily change it based on Saturday. But what do I want from the game? I don't really give a shit about Man City because I can't go anyway. Sorry, the rest of the Swindon fan base, but we could be playing Man City or Shrewsbury, and I can't go anyway. So it's but I think that I would rather us try to gather some momentum now. And I think a win against a side that we've just lost to 3 days ago will actually do us a lot more favours than we think going into Saturday against Bromley, personally.
Okay. Nick, do you, and I know Holloway was asked this in his pre-match, a very interesting pre-match press conference, listening to Holloway as always. But do you think it's a help, a hindrance, or makes no difference at all, the fact that we're playing the same opposition so close?
I think I agree with Woody. He's Holloway's probably planned this out and would have a good idea of what the team will be, barring injuries. I said when the draw was made that Man City away was the worst possible draw we could have had, because of the way they play, and there's a potential to go there and get tonked, which doesn't do you any good. Apart
Going
from
on record,
a
by the
payday.
way, I said this on Saturday to Woz, and I said it to Vic as well when we saw Vic in the Legends Lounge. We're not doing a Salford or an Exeter. We will keep it 5 or less.
Yeah, but you're still getting tonked, aren't you? So,
and we score. By the way, if Man City play like they did on Saturday,
exactly. Well, yeah, that's
matter.
true. Yeah, but that's not likely to happen. So, I would have said I wouldn't have cared if we lost, except now.
Now we've lost.
Again, I was going to now we've lost. We don't want to back-to-back defeats. We haven't had that all season, and I think that's something that Holloway is going to make sure that we don't get. So I think the result is more important to get a win than what it will give us into the next round. So I think for the actual team and going into our next critical game, Bromley, who they won 6-7 on the bounce, something like that. And we're perfectly capable of going there and doing to them what Salford have just done to us at home. So, and again, that's an opportunity we've got to take. So from a point of view of not losing the game, I think if we lose that just definitely puts us on the back foot. So from that point of view, I want us to win it. But for the benefit of going to Man City, I couldn't care less. Like was, if we get there, I will go 100% if I can get a ticket. 100% go. So we need to avoid back-to-back defeats and put us in the momentum for Bromley.
Basically, what Nick is saying is win tomorrow, go strong tomorrow, and then put the kids out against Man City.
I think I actually do agree and subscribe to the notion now. I think if we lose tomorrow, the pressure on that Bromley game is massive. If we win tomorrow, it just takes it down a notch. But if we lose to Salford twice in 4 days, the pressure on that Bromley game, anything short of a win is unacceptable. Like the pressure is there. It's unbelievable if we do not win tomorrow.
It's going to be there anyway.
Yeah,
but like you say, it's going to ramp it up.
Okay, let's start with Barry then and see how confident we are. Can we change the narrative when we meet again on Friday? What's the score going to be tomorrow, Barry?
2-1 Town.
2-1 Town. Woody?
Does it go to extra time?
Yeah.
So basically, that's the worst thing that could happen to us, isn't it?
Extra time is the worst, yeah.
That's what will happen.
Yeah, 0-0, extra time, and then 14 penalties. And then no training.
Interesting, by the way, just a side note, sorry, Woody, before you do your thing, I don't know if any of you did listen, but we obviously spoke a lot in the last season or two about preparation as Swindon do and stuff. Holloway did confirm that the team travelled up tonight and they're staying overnight and doing their prep in the hotel tomorrow.
Yeah, but I have to credit where it's due, whatever's bankrolling this situation. I think we've looked after the players quite well this season. I think they have travelled up the night before on a few games and stuff like that. That'll be Holloway's influence, won't it, as well? He'll be saying, look, this is what benefits players, etc.
He also suggested that this is the first time in his 1,000 and however many games that he's played the same opponent twice in 4 days. Apparently, it's never happened to him before.
Yeah, I mean, it probably has. He just doesn't remember it.
Just can't remember, yeah.
Yeah. I just don't have confidence that we're not going to concede, but I don't want to go with the same score as Barry. But I do think it's going to be tight. Now I've seen answer. I think we're going to scrape it. We'll scrape 1-0 somehow. Somehow we're just going to come completely out. We're going to be the best defensive performance of the season. And we're going to scrape it 1-0.
Okay. Nick?
I think I'm on the same page as Wazza. I think I can read what he's going to say. I'm going to say 1-1, 2-2, penalties.
Okay. Was?
Yeah, I think it's going to go to extra time, and then anything can happen. I think we're kind of taken away from the fact that we're saying that we're going to react, but Salford are going to be they're going to be sky high from Saturday. Massive result for them on the road. We say they're always good for money for us, but let's put it this way: they do still need, you know what I mean. As much as we say about who they're run by and who they're owned by, Manchester United, they would like to go there again to Man City and try and better what they got pumped last time, didn't they? So let's not put it this way. I think it's going to be 2 teams bang up for it for the reward that they're going to get if they get through. But I think it's a real tough game tomorrow night, and I think Carl Robinson just loves putting it up to us again every time we come up against him. So I don't think there'll be no gratitude or anything from him there. He'll be wanting to beat Swindon Town again and win for Salford. So I think it will go to extra time, and then it sort of thing. With the opinion that I had, I just kind of sway towards the thing that I just think we'll just be a bit short tomorrow night. But when I'm sort of watching it or listening to it, it will just completely switch, and I'll want Swindon Town to win like I always do. But I just think we might be a little bit short tomorrow.
Okay. I'm going to say, despite everything that has been said in the last 90 minutes or so, that I'm going to remember the conversation we had when the draw was made. And no matter what you think of Pep's style of football and Man City as a football club, I am going to remind everyone that we've said for years, why don't Swindon ever try in the Cup? We never get the glory rounds in the FA Cup, etc., etc., etc. So I'm going to say, fuck you, Salford, fuck you, Robinson. We're winning 3-0 tomorrow. And then we're going to the Etihad, and we're winning that fucker as well.
Who's scoring and how many is Drynan getting?
It's going to be Palmer, Drynan, and a substitute appearance from Tabor.
No chance. Tabor won't even be in the squad.
89th minute Tabor off his arse, and that kickstarts his season.
He won't be in the squad.
So there are our predictions.
He will.
Actually, no, we can have 9 subs, can't we?
Yeah, you can name
9
we've
subs,
got 9 subs. Yeah, that's true. We forgot that.
Okay, let's. I don't want to not do it justice, but there are a couple of other things that we should comment on. Just very briefly, Woody, I'm going to come to you because I know it's exactly what you were hoping for. You've pissed all over our good friend Vic's hopes and dreams. Plymouth at home, should the FA see that justice is prevailed? Me and Woz saw him in the Legends Lounge before the game. He couldn't have been any more gutted.
Oh yeah, I was, because that's exactly what I said on Friday, wasn't it? Plymouth at home is who I wanted, and Plymouth at home is who I've got. If anybody sees sense, but yeah, I think we needed. I personally believe we needed, especially with this congested fixture period now. I think we needed a game that we weren't going to be travelling to. So yeah, and I think I can't even remember who else is left, but.
Northampton and Wimbledon were the other ones in our...
Yeah, and I think Plymouth will probably have a slight more arrogance about it. So I'd like them to come here and we play them off the park with our B team. So yeah, okay. I'm pleased with Plymouth at home because I wanted a home draw more than anything for that.
You did. Let's talk. Let's move on to the women's side of the game. None of us can really discuss much about Caution. Rich isn't here to tell us what happened, but they did suffer something of a, is it fair to say, surprise defeat, Woody?
I spoke to Rich yesterday on his way home. He was livid. But the yeah, it was it was.
He's had a
I'm
really
gonna.
bad weekend, hasn't he? Nothing's cheered him
Yeah.
up.
I was thinking, is it a surprise? Is it a surprise? Yes, I would have said based on what I've seen of Bitton. But when I actually looked at Bitton, have only lost one game this year, and that was to Bassett. Or this season. And when Rich was telling me, and I thought I almost knew exactly what he was going to say when he phoned me up. Like the pitch was shit, and all of this kind of, and it is a dreadful pitch, and it's terrible. I don't. We can blame pitches or whatever, but it is a terrible pitch.
Both teams played on the same one. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, but if you play on that pitch for half your games a season, you're going to have a bit of an advantage, in you. But so it was more surprising to me that they didn't score. That Caution didn't score because of the prowess they've got. But yeah, it sounded like they just that Bitton just did what they do best sometimes, like similar to what they did to Bassett last year. Kind of, they played the conditions better. They played probably the dark arts similar to Salford against us on Saturday. Really, played the dark arts a little bit better. It opens it up though, doesn't it? I think there's not many points separating the top 5 spaces in that league now. So
first league defeat for Caution.
Yeah. So, which obviously now leaves Bassett as the only team that haven't lost a game. It's. Is it a shot? No, because I think they'll return to Caution, and I think Caution will beat them at their place. But yeah, it definitely would have raised a couple of eyebrows, I think, across the league.
Okay. We'll Barry and I can discuss Bassett in just a minute, but we should also pay attention to the fact Swindon Town were on the end of a heavy sounding 10-0 defeat at Charlton in the cup, but again, you've discussed this before about the nature of women's football, Woody. It's perhaps not as bad as losing 10-0 suggests, and what can't be discredited is what a run it's been.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I joked and I put in the WhatsApp group to say if somebody comments on, oh look, we should take women's football seriously, etc., and then we just send them that snapshot of Man City beating Exeter 10-1. So it does unfortunately happen. I think the run is the main thing that Swindon need to focus on. I think if you listen to Rich Wood before the match, he says that we are huge underdogs here. We're not probably even in the consideration of an upset, because there is that vast amount of difference. We're talking the Man City. Charlton, thank you. Charlton are on the brink of just probably going to get promoted into the highest league in women's football, into one of the highest leagues in the world of women's football as well. We're not just talking, it is one of the best standards in the world. So, and fair play to Charlton, by the way, because obviously they're investing there somewhere as well. So, but then we look at Caution, Swindon, 2 leagues apart. Swindon, whatever the score was in the county cup. So unfortunately,
19,
and I think, I think you see in a lot of what you would consider grassroots football, you do see those big results happening and things like that. So I don't think the guys should be too downhearted by it, to be fair, and I don't think they are. I think they would have liked to have keep the score lower, but at the same time, Charlton are full time. They're fully paid professionals. They're 5 times a week training and all that, compared to Swindon's 2 evenings a week and etc. So it's fair play to Richwood. It's a fantastic run and it's a nice little money builder. Yeah. It's probably paid for the women's team this year, just that FA Cup run. It's and now at least, dare we say it, they can now concentrate on the league, which we talk about distraction.
And the other cups.
And the other cups, yeah. So, but yeah, it's and obviously they've got. Did I see you say that Charlton have been drawn against Oxford in the next?
Yeah, Charlton got Oxford away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to say it now. That will be 6-7-0 as well, probably, to be totally honest, because even that's only one division apart. There is just such a fundamental. We see it in men's football between playing full time and playing part time. There's just such a fundamental difference. So. yeah, fair play. But it's just I feel a bit for Rich because I hope it doesn't spin them off in a bad run because that is their first game back since before Christmas. So yeah,
Yeah, he
hopefully it
would.
doesn't.
I think I believe, and I think you may have made the point. I think it probably wouldn't have affected the outcome, but had Swindon had a game before that, it may have helped keep the scoreline different.
Yeah, possibly. But fair play to them all, and it sounds like Rich would try to give a few everybody or those that he could as much game time as well. So it's probably some first experiences for some of them. I mean, players like Biff and that have played at the highest level, so it's nothing to them. But there's other players in there that will probably never play at the Valley Parade again, and it's a lovely. I love the Valley Parade. I think it's a lovely stadium. But yeah, so it's is it Valley Parade? That is Valley Parade, isn't it? Yeah. So let's double check then. But yeah, so yeah, fair play. But on to the league.
Barry, the one team that we cover every week on Fools That Did Win was Bassett. They're through to the cup final where they are very likely to be playing Swindon. Let's be honest. They ran out 6-0 winners against Highworth under-18s yesterday. I can obviously say my thoughts, but as someone that goes vastly more regularly than I, what did you make of the game?
Well, we made it 5-0 because we missed the first goal.
We did. Well, you made it 4-0 because you missed the first one in the second half as well.
True, very true. Yeah, so there's 2 surprise goals in there. It was quite impressive. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 4 goals from corners.
No, it was 3 from corners, but there was one that was just a deep cross that was very similar.
Because I know Tory Taylor's second was that sort of looping shot into the top left.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I mean, yeah, it was a good little game. I think Highworth were quite unfortunate. There's a few first touches that weren't the best from them, but they were a young side playing, so it was kind of expected. But Bassett kept up with them, much to some of their disgust at the end. I think they were having to work quite hard for it, but it was a pleasant Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I said, as someone who, as we know, doesn't get to go all the time, I said I was quite impressed by some of the play of Bassett. I liked some of the combination play they had. I appreciated some of the 1 and 2 touch stuff they were playing. And that, again, not to discredit Highworth, because I mentioned to Woody afterwards, they've got, considering they are an under-18 team, that there's 1 or 2 players there who you can see have something about them as well. And players to keep an eye out for. Obviously, it was nice to see a couple of FRI stalwarts, shall we say, friends of the show, picking up goals on the day, and also got to say hello to a couple after. Hannah as well came on for her first first minutes since injury. We saw her
got about 15 minutes, I think.
Got about 15 minutes, yeah. So all in all, a very good exercise for Bassett, a very good win, and into the final. But yeah, it was a good afternoon. It was enjoyable. Me and you, like to say, we had fun. We had a laugh, and yeah, it was a very good afternoon.
Had a laugh. Got a few decisions wrong that we got pointed out to us, but
yeah. Well, so honestly, if ever there was a case for me and Barry never to do this again, it was going to Bassett, because we didn't realise the first goal had gone in because there was just no reaction from anybody. And then we were like, why is the ball back on the halfway line? And then there was one where the ref gave Bassett a free kick in front of us, like our end. And we were like, where's the... Oh, no, it was Highworth, wasn't it? Because it was in the first half. And we were like, where was the foul? We didn't see anything. And then it got pointed out to us that if the ref had done his job properly, it was actually a penalty because it was inside the area. And we were like, we didn't even see a foul. The referee, by the way, extraordinary hairstyle. And this is coming from me. Extraordinary. I don't know what he was thinking, because he actually had decent hair, I suppose, for a young lad, but he was wearing like a headband. But what it did was it took his hair right back off his forehead.
Was it Mr. Evans, Barry?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I think I saw it, who it was.
It was an interesting choice from him. But
he looked like the human equivalent of a beluga whale. I just had to Google it quickly. It was very badly placed.
Oh, it did cause some entertainment. But no, again, huge credit to Bassett. They they may have been expected to win the game, but they did the job. They did it well. And as I say,
Cost me some money down the line.
Yeah. Bryony got 2. Maddie got 2. Maddie could have had 3. She hit the woodwork, which she'd forgot about till I told her afterwards. She posted on her socials about getting 2, and I said, should have been 3. And she said, yeah, I wasn't really in it. I said, no, it really should have been 3. You hit the woodwork. And she was like, oh, I forgot about that. She completely forgot. But yeah, no, it was a good afternoon. It was a fun afternoon. Like I say, it was nice to see a couple of them afterwards and actually say hello in person. Even if I still surprise them with how tall I am, even though they have met me in person before. It's always nice to say hello. Yes, there is a struggle to watch the game tomorrow night. It's not on TV unless you're in foreign climates. So for those who want to enjoy the game legally, go first and foremost. Secondly, listen to BBC Radio Wiltshire. Or third, I'm a good boy. I try and behave and do things the right way, but I do understand there is certain technologies where you can pretend you're in different countries. And therefore, places like Discovery Plus and TNT in other countries are showing it. So you'll be able to find it there. Not that I'm justifying that, I'm just passing on the information. Like I am also passing on the information, if you didn't know, apparently the Bromley tickets are 26% off, which I posted in our chat earlier. There's some sort of sale on, and they're 26% off. So if you didn't... I don't know. It just came up on the Swindon Town marketing email that I get, that because today is Blue Monday and it's 2026, they've put a 26% discount on the Bromley tickets.
Call the Bromley.
That's all I can tell you. Listen, we've been going for almost an hour longer than usual. Clearly, we had a lot to get off our chest. So I'm going to call it there unless anyone has anything specific they want to add at this point. Woody is saying no. Barry is just looking at me. Nick's pretty much ready to log off before the outro credits.
Palmer and Drinnan, anyone?
If you are going to Salford tomorrow, as we always say, travel safe first and foremost. Be loud, be proud. And you know what? Despite the fact that some people might be happier if we just got out the cup, let's carry on the journey one more, because, the FA might kick us out the cup that we might win. So we might as well get something out of this season. But, whatever happens, let's hope it's a good performance. Let's hope for a good result. And let's hope that we can build towards Bromley. We'll be back on Friday to talk everything that happens tomorrow night, preview everything that's going to happen at the weekend. And I'm told within the next 3 episodes of FRI, some more fools who are yet to appear in 2026 should start finding their way back to their laptop screens. So there is plenty for you to look forward to. Thank you so much for everyone who's taken part in the chat. It's been very entertaining reading. Thank you, as always, to you guys from everyone at FRI HQ. Have a great week. Good night.
Fools rush in. Yeah, we're back again. Like mates down the pub, heart on sleeve, never tame. Yeah. From the chanting in the stands to the tackles flying in. Home and away, red blood, white shirt, where the fools rush in. Passion, debate, slaps, rants, late nights, Woody, Ben, Nick, Rich, Walter, Kieran, side by side, Craig and Ned, Joe and Mark, Art, God, Gary in the dark, and now we got Barry in. Yeah!
Like we're chasing one rolling. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last minute swing, just like back in Swindon Town.
We go up, we fall down.
we're chasing one more win. We'll make you laugh, make you cry, feel happy, feel angry inside. Fools rushing like a last minute swing, just like